സംസ്ഥാന വികസനത്തിന്റെ അടുത്ത ദശാബ്ദത്തെ നിർണ്ണയിക്കുന്ന സുപ്രധാന ചർച്ചകൾ നടക്കുന്ന ഈ സെമിനാറിൽ കേരളത്തിന്റെ സമ്പദ് വ്യവസ്ഥയ്ക്ക് ഏറ്റവും നിർണായകമായ കയറ്റുമതിയും തുറമുഖാധിഷ്ഠിത വികസനവും എന്ന വിഷയത്തെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള രണ്ടാമത്തെ സമാന്തര സെഷനാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ നടക്കുന്നത്. കേരളത്തിലെ ഉൽപ്പന്നങ്ങൾക്ക് ലോകവിപണിയിൽ സ്ഥിരമായി ഇടം നേടുന്നതിനും അതുവഴി നമ്മുടെ സാമ്പത്തിക നിലയെ ശക്തിപ്പെടുത്തുന്നതിനും വേണ്ടിയുള്ള പുതിയ കയറ്റുമതി തന്ത്രങ്ങളാണ് ഈ സെഷൻ പ്രധാനമായും ചർച്ച ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അതോടൊപ്പം ആധുനിക തുറമുഖാധിഷ്ഠിത വികസനത്തിലൂടെ സംസ്ഥാനത്തിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാന സൗകര്യങ്ങൾ മെച്ചപ്പെടുത്തി വൻകിട നിക്ഷേപങ്ങളെ ആകർഷിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പുതിയ തൊഴിലവസരങ്ങൾ സൃഷ്ടിക്കാനുള്ള സാധ്യതകളും നാം അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കേണ്ടതാണ്. തുറമുഖാധിഷ്ഠിത വികസനം വഴി സംസ്ഥാനത്തിന്റെ സമ്പദ് വ്യവസ്ഥയ്ക്ക് ഉണർവേകാനും വരും വർഷങ്ങളിൽ പുതിയ വളർച്ചാ അവസരങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ടുവരാനും കഴിയുന്ന ക്രിയാത്മക നിർദ്ദേശങ്ങൾ ഈ ചർച്ചയിൽ ഉരുത്തിരിയുമെന്ന് വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. ഈ ചർച്ചയിൽ പങ്കെടുത്ത് ഈ ചർച്ചയിൽ പങ്കെടുത്ത് നമുക്ക് അറിവ് പകർന്നു നൽകാൻ എത്തിച്ചേർന്നിട്ടുള്ളവർ എല്ലാവരും ഈ രംഗത്തെ പ്രഗത്ഭരും പ്രമുഖരുമാണ്. ഈ സെഷന് നേതൃത്വം നൽകുന്ന ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട അധ്യക്ഷൻ കൊച്ചിൻ പോർട്ട് അതോറിറ്റി ചെയർമാൻ ശ്രീ ബി കാശിവിശ്വനാഥൻ അവർകളെ ആദരവോടെ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. കൂടാതെ ഈ ചർച്ചയിൽ അറിവുകൾ പങ്കുവയ്ക്കാൻ എത്തിച്ചേർന്നിട്ടുള്ള കൊച്ചിൻ പോർട്ട് അതോറിറ്റിയുടെ മുൻ ചെയർമാനും സിഇഒയുമായിരുന്ന ശ്രീ എൻ രാമചന്ദ്രൻ, റിട്ടയർഡ് IPS, കോൺഫെഡറേഷൻ ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യൻ ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി ചെയർപേഴ്സൺ ശ്രീ V.K.C. Razak, ഫെഡറേഷൻ ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യൻ ചേംബേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് കോമേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി കേരള സ്റ്റേറ്റ് കൗൺസിൽ ടാസ്ക് ഫോഴ്സ് ഓൺ എക്സ്പോർട്സിന്റെ ചെയർ ശ്രീ Alex K. Ninan, Director of Center for Development Studies Professor C. Veeramani, വിഴിഞ്ഞം ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ സീപോർട്ട് ലിമിറ്റഡിന്റെ MD ഡോക്ടർ Divya S. Iyer IAS എന്നിവരടങ്ങുന്ന വ്യക്തിത്വങ്ങളെ ഞാൻ സ്നേഹത്തോടെ ഈ വേദിയിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഈ സെഷന് അധ്യക്ഷത വഹിക്കുന്നതിനായി ആദരണീയനായ ശ്രീ ബി കാശിവിശ്വനാഥൻ അവർകളെ നിറഞ്ഞ മനസ്സോടെ ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു.
medical systems for traditional medicine applications, which can be really marketed very well, and it should be supported by technology rather than the traditional approaches. Again, in the tourism segment, the roles that can be played by digital applications.
Good afternoon to every one of you.
And tools that could really play
distinguished
very well.
panel
example,
members, esteemed stakeholders of maritime sector, and all the participants assembled here. I extend my warm greetings and welcome to all of you for this panel discussion on export and port-led development. As chairperson of Cochin Port Authority, I feel honored and humbled to chair this panel discussion with the eminent luminaries on the subject exports and port-led development. It is a critical pillar in our national economic strategy. Port-led industrialization transforms ports into an engine of regional and national economic growth. As we all know, 90% of our trade happens through sea, and it becomes strategically important as India embarks on its journey to the mission of achieving $2 trillion export by 2030. In this direction, the deliberation that we have today, the outcome of this deliberation, that initiatives and suggestions that is going to come out of this discussion will make a difference to make Kerala a part of this historic journey to achieve $2 trillion trade in India. Historically, ports and harbors have been the center of industrial and economic activity and development of the region. Name any port, be it Cochin, New Mangalore, Tuticorin, Chennai, Mundra, Kandla, Paradeep. Every port has played its stellar role in developing the region, the state, and also has participated hugely in the export and import of the commodity through the sea trade. The logistic cost of India currently is at 14% of GDP, which is extremely high compared to the global phenomena of around 8 to 10%.
to be played
This
with,
calls for
local
setting up
governments and
industrial
delivering
hubs
services, mandating some of
around the
activities to
port
be- to be
ecosystem
moved towards
so
the
that
technology
the logistic
sector,
cost can come down.
and,
And also by
digital
developing the
governance,
well-knit
which is some of the
multimodal
important
transport
activities
system
that the government
connecting the
institutions will
hinterland,
really help in,
we will be able to reduce the
jump-starting
logistic cost.
these activities in the state of Kerala. And I
Further,
believe that,
development of free
technology
trade zones,
ecosystem,
which has not been
that
done
needs
much
to be
in the
developed
country
in
as
the
of
state
now.
Kerala will really
Development of large number of free trade zones can also trigger export and also reduce the logistic cost. Digitalization of the port with smart port systems can reduce the stay of the ships in the port, thereby reducing the overall cost of the cargo being transported. Cochin Port, being the chairperson of this deliberation, I would like to give a brief on Cochin Port. Cochin Port, the gateway to the peninsular India, had played a significant role in the export of products, industrial development, and the economic growth of Cochin and the adjacent hinterland, and continue to embark on its modernization and growth. To give the glimpse, Cochin Port has done 37.75 million ton of cargo last year, out of which about 25 million ton was liquid cargo, and about 8.3 lakh TEUs container we handled, about 1.38 million tons of cement and other miscellaneous cargo. Of the total volume of containers that we have handled last year, 53% of the cargo was EXIM, that is export and import, foreign export and import. To further strengthen our trade and the relevance of Cochin Port, we are embarking on deepening up our channel, expansion of ICTT, and also investing hugely on strengthening and augmenting various facilities so that the vessels that are coming today does not wait outside, and once it is coming to the berth, we are able to evacuate it at a faster rate so as to have the fast turnaround of the vessels which is coming to the Cochin Port. Having set the context of port-led development and the brief on Cochin Port, I would like to request the most respected Sri Ramachandran sir, who had played a stellar role in modernizing and expansion of Cochin Port, to narrate how port-led developments transformed Kochi in the past, its current status, and what are the way forward for the industrial development of Cochin and its hinterland and Kerala in general.
Now I request
Sir, the stage is
Dr.
yours.
V.K. Matthews. I think he is IIT product, then he went to Harvard, he set up first product company of India, when the rest of the people are maybe doing service.
No, it's okay.
But he is one product,
Yes.
even the Heathrow airport runs on his software. Even 1 microsecond delay, the entire flights in the Europe will come to a standstill.
Good
But
morning,
he
everyone.
manages everything
Thank you for this
globally,
opportunity.
and Blackstone, this is
Respected
one
chairman
company, one
and
product
all other
company
esteemed,
where Blackstone has invested.
colleagues on
So
the
Blackstone MD was my
panel.
junior in IIT, so I met him in Singapore. I asked
dear
what
friends.
all you invest, then he said, I have got the investment, I invested in 2 health sector, Aster and Kims, and then I invested in IBS. Such a
Okay,
beautiful,
okay.
and they have invested almost 38 billion in
Presentation is
India,
on
and
this
this
side.
is
Yeah,
the pride of Kerala.
It is coming
What probably Infosys and TCS and all to the other states is IBS to Kerala. In fact, he will talk about the new technology and what needs to be done on the R&D, the skilling side, as well as the
it okay now?
ecosystem for future growth. Kerala has to become the place for the, I say, the
it okay?
techno-economics and future technologies, whether it is AI or quantum technology. So I think he will talk on that. So I request Sri Dr. V.K. Matthews to address.
So let me tell you a personal story. First of all, I walked into the port sector. Basically I'm a policeman, and I have no business to be in this
Good
group.
afternoon. So I was
But
about to say good
it
morning.
so happened that
Honorable
I
Minister,
was in
of
the
Finance,
special
Shri
protection
V.K.
group
Balagopan,
that looks after the Prime Minister's
Chief Secretary
security
Finance,
in 2
my good
tenures.
friend Jyotirlal.
And from early stages of my
on the
career,
dais,
I had a rare opportunity to travel
people
to
in the
different
audience.
countries.
Thank you very much.
And I used to see the changes that used to happen at such fast
I was
pace.
asking Jodhilal how he would like
I have been to
this
China
exercise.
several
He said,
times in the
probably give it
1990s,
10,
and
12
the
minutes
China of
the
today
topic that you want
is
to say,
unrecognizable.
and that will be completed, and
What we
thereafter
saw in
we can take
1990s
questions.
is
So
not the
what
China
I
that
thought
is
I
there
will
today.
briefly cover is,
And
before
Vietnam,
we talk
North
about the
Vietnam,
future,
Hanoi, for
let's
example.
actually look at
First time I
what is
visited
the
Hanoi in
context today.
1994.
the context,
You won't believe,
not just in
1994,
Kerala, but globally. It's very
Hanoi
important
did
because
not
that's the
have
frame of
any
reference.
black
Then
top
we will look
roads.
at how Kerala
The roads
is
of the
and our-
entire capital
our
city,
own context.
Hanoi, were kacha
And then
roads or,
let's see
mud
what
roads.
could be the vision
There was
for
1
our state.
kilometer of
And if that's the vision and that's the context and
road
that's
which
where
was
we
used
stand,
for,
then
I
what should
mean,
be
which
our
was in front of
priority areas and what
the
should be our
mausoleum of
priorities.
Ho Chi Minh. That was all.
So I would like to bring
So
to your
from there where
attention,
they
so
have
during
reached.
the last
So,
5 to 7 months of this
So
year,
what I am trying to say is,
ever since
the entire,
Trump came to US
South
presidency,
Asia, Southeast Asia,
things have become
China,
extremely clear
the
to
kind
us.
of
It
development
cannot be
that is
clearer.
happening is unbelievable.
One of
So
the
when I got this
things
chance here
that we can
to
actually
come
say
to
is
Cochin
he
as
has
the chairman,
shown
I
us how vulnerable
was able
we
to
are.
learn a lot of things. So I thought
In
I
other
will share
words,
some of my thoughts
he
with you.
could. So it started with
I
the
have written
trade
quite a
agreement
bit
breaches.
in my presentation.
Basically,
Don't
all
get
of the
scared. I will
bilateral and the multilateral
rush
trade
through them.
agreements that
I'll
countries
try to
had,
finish my
whether they were the allies or adversaries,
presentation.
all of them, he said, he disregards.
So all of us keep
And how
telling
could he do
that
that?
our geography
Because
and
there is a
demography,
clause,
this is what the
There's a
Honorable
provision in the
Finance Minister
Constitution
also
of the
said.
United States that
said
if there
just
is
now.
anything
But
which is affecting the national security
the saying
interest
that
of the United
fragile
States,
economy,
the
we cannot
president
have
can
big
invoke
industry
that and he
is not
gets
correct.
unlimited
There are many
powers
other
and
countries
no
that
agreement,
have,
no patent, no copyright of
you know,
any
done
kind
well.
will come in the way of
like
the president
Netherlands,
exercising what
Singapore,
he should do to
New
ensure
Zealand, Iceland,
that
all these
the,
countries, they are also
the security of the US
very
is restored.
fragile
And that's what he has invoked. And
geographies,
he can
but they
invoke
have
the
done
same
very
thing
well and they have
today. And why I
industrialized
say
their
the
countries
future of
very
Indian
well.
sovereignty.
But I wanted
and
to
that of many
bring
countries
something from China
is
here.
not very, very
You know,
safe
the
and
massive-
sound. I'll tell you the reason is this.
Huh?
As you know, sovereignty means the
thank
supreme
you.
authority
Thank you for
of a
that.
country to govern
because
itself
this was,
without
scaring me
external
also.
interferences, and it has multiple dimensions of
Okay,
territorial.
so, you know, in China, what they do
integrity or
is,
sovereignty
when they
and
build
economic
something,
sovereignty,
or
political
when they start
sovereignty,
a
and
project,
security and military
they,
and all kinds of
they
dimensions.
plan it in a
But
very holistic and
over
comprehensive
time,
manner.
the
Like, for example,
sovereignty
shipping,
of a
ship,
nation has
sorry,
changed
ship
from physical to
construction.
economical to
building.
industrial
When they
to
build
digital
a
and
ship,
technology.
shipbuilding plant,
Today, if
they
US
also will
president
set up a
or
steel
either
plant which
advertently or
makes the
inadvertently,
steel
if
specifically
the
for that
technology
thing,
platforms
because
that
the
you
steel
and
that
me
is required
use
for the ship
from
is
morning
different
till
from some
evening,
other kind of steel.
the day of an
So,
Indian citizen,
right
you
from
and
the
me,
steel to the
starts and
electrical
ends
system
with
to the, even to
technologies
the
which are
screw,
owned, operated,
everything will be
controlled by
built
the
in
United
nearby
States
industry.
or China.
They build an
99% United
ecosystem
States.
for,
If that
let's
is
say,
disrupted,
shipbuilding. I'm only
that
giving
means starting
shipbuilding as
from
an
you
example.
looking at the
So,
wake-up call
what
to your
happens
WhatsApp
is that
messages to
shipbuilding has
Zoom,
grown
to
so
Teams,
much
to
in China.
healthcare, to transportation,
Last
to
year, in the
flights,
year
to
2024,
power generation, everything will
China
come to a
had
standstill.
74%
that
of the world's
The country of
shipbuilding
India, I'm not saying country of India, and it's not just about the US.
74%.
It's about
And
the
the
issues
entire
of a unipolar world.
world
If they decide
had to share whatever
that
was left,
the
24%.
services by
Even
American
the very
companies,
famous
all of the
shipbuilders
platforms
of the
that you
world.
use
And
should
India, what
not
was
be
our share
provided
last
to
year?
a country, because that country
0.06%.
seemed to be hindering in the security
India's share
of
was
the provision provided
0.06%
country.
in the year
We can be
2024.
not just
Even that
50
happened
years,
because
ladies
of
and gentlemen,
Cochin
we could
shipyard.
be 70 to 100
Cochin
years
shipyard
back. We will
had
be- Today
built
morning I was talking to
the,
Chris Gopalakrishnan
you know,
in the context of the some
INS
of the topics
plants.
related to here.
That
and
is
he
why
was
we
saying
could make
we will all be dead.
0.06%.
That is
Whereas
the
China
reason why
did
the future of
74%.
sovereignty
So what I am trying to
is
tell
at
you
risk. And
is
what does it
that
actually
this
mean?
concept of having
I'll
clusters,
say why we are
industrial
in that position
clusters,
and what opportunities
that is
it
something
presents
that we
to our
need to
country
learn.
and to our state.
from China.
And the
They-
reason why
they build
we got into
everything
that
together
situation is
so that it is, I mean,
because
otherwise
if I
if we have
look
to,
at research
you know,
in
like,
our country,
I have also
there is
done a lot
hardly
of
any
research on this shipbuilding.
And both
And
in
I was going
quantitative
through
and qualitative terms,
the,
for example, per
the
capita
report of the
R&D
parliamentary
investment
committee
of our country
on
is
shipping.
$17 when
They
it
have
comes
gone
to
through
US,
this
it is
several times, and they
$3,000,
have also
and Israel, as a
pointed it
small
out several
country, is
times. But I don't know,
$3,700.
after 5 years, when the parliamentary
And
committee brings
when
out
the rest
another,
of the world spends something
you
like
know,
2.5
report,
to
they again
4%,
say, no,
we spend
the steel is not
0.7%.
available, or
And we are still
or the
a
taxes
small
are too
country
much.
when it comes to per
And
capita GDP. So
can you imagine,
research in our
shipbuilding
place
is
done
not
by people
treated
who do
as
not get
an
any job.
infrastructure in India.
Research
So
is
because of
considered as
that,
an indulgence.
shipbuilding doesn't get
We use
adequate finance.
technology which is developed
So these
by
are small
others,
things which government of
and
India's
we
policy
use science
corrections
which is invented
can
by somebody else. We
bring
teach
about a
science.
lot of difference,
We
but that
don't
is
have
not happening
science.
in this country.
We don't
So
have
these are
technology.
some certain things
It
which I
hurts
thought I
us
must
when
bring
we
to
say
your
that
notice.
we have no
So,
technology.
the
All of the technology
thing
you
is,
and me are right.
so I have mentioned about this
lakhs of software
shipbuilding.
engineers in this
So
country.
we also
and
need,
perhaps
we are
a
talking
tenth
only
of that in the
specifically
other
about
countries
Kerala's
is
development.
creating
So we
technology
need to
for
have an
somebody
industrial
else.
vision which is long-term,
Our
policy
researchers, our
discipline which
scientists,
is
our
absolutely
professors
important,
who run the best
and
of
insulated
research in the
from
rest of the world, but we
political
don't have any in
upheavals
our
that
country.
keep happening in our society.
Ladies and gentlemen, this
Another
is,
point I
cannot
want to bring
continue
about,
because
bring
India
to your notice, because I
is
will
not
speak
a
less
small
about
country.
shipping, because
1.46
our
146
friend,
crores, 1.46
Dr.
billion
Divya Iyer is here.
It's
She
not
will,
about US, it's not about us,
also,
it's about
you know,
the
first of all,
interests
our
of the
chairperson is
unipolar
the
world.
Cochin Port
It cannot,
chairman himself.
actually, I am not saying that
he
every country
and,
should be doing
Madam,
everything themselves,
Divya Iyer
but
will
it
be speaking
cannot
more
be a
about
total
shipping.
dependence.
So I thought
at
I will
least.
give
It
you a
should be
few other
an interdependence
examples, but
which will
one
give us some
point
levers
that
to
has
push
been agitating me quite a
when the
bit
push comes to
is
the
the
shove.
LNG.
So that's
The-
one,
you know,
and what
in
is going to
India,
happen, and this is
we started two
grossly
LNG
understood.
terminals together,
At
or
national level, and
conceived
I'm
two
sure at
LNG
state level
terminals
also we
together
should be
in
understanding
the
there
year
will be
2000.
significant
But by
impetus
2020,
towards
sorry,
research.
2004,
And if
Dahej
that is the case, we
already
have to look
constructed
at
it and
how
commissioned
do
it.
we benefit,
But
how do
we could
actually
even,
benefit
we
from
could
this?
only start the thing
How
in
do we actually
2005 or
create
2005.
research
yes.
as
And
an
by
absolute
2010
essential thing?
we
We
had
have to create
mostly
knowledge. We
completed
have
it, and
to
then by
invent.
12 we
And
commissioned
we
the
can.
LNG
And the
project.
reason is because
Both these
most of these
were conceived
platforms
as
and
5
most of
million
these
ton
technologies
capacity
which
each.
actually control our life
Now,
today
the LNG
is actually
port,
created
that is
by
the
us.
Dahej LNG port, they
Except that it is
constructed it for
created in a
5
different
million
kind of a
and
framework, so
started
therefore we don't
consuming
own
it also.
So when
And
it
they
comes to the
slowly
number
started
one
expanding
recommendation
it.
that I would
Today,
make,
they are going to
here,
reach 22
the
and a half
government
million
should
ton
drive. In many
capacity.
occasions, there are many
From 5 million
examples
to 22 and a
of
half
how
million ton
research can
capacity.
be
Whereas
professionalized.
our Cochin port,
instance, in the
we
case of
constructed
US,
5 million, but
US has a
our
model
utilization
called
is 1.5 million.
Government-owned, commercially
than
operated
1.5
contractor
million
operated.
tons.
It used to be
So, which
government-owned,
means
government-operated.
it is very shameful that we are
Go.
not able to consume
changed.
whatever is there.
Sometime in
Because
the 1930s,
there is
they
no
have changed
demand
actually to
for
government-owned,
LNG
commercially
here.
operated,
But why is it that there
because
is a demand
research is
in
much
Gujarat?
better done
That is because Gujaratis are more,
in private
you know,
than in
what-
public. So
what may be
government
called
facilitates.
business-minded, they-
For example,
they start
Bechtel
new
Corporation, which owns
businesses
8
when
major
an
labs in the
opportunity comes.
US.
But in our
And
state,
one of which is the
even
Oak
if
Ridge
there
National
is an
Laboratory.
opportunity,
The director of which visited
probably
India
people are
when
not
Sri
aware that
Janandan
there
was
is
the chief minister,
gas
which
available,
Jodhilal would
or
remember.
safe
and
gas
I'll tell
or
you
green
about that
gas
later,
available
but-
here.
And they were
But,
looking for a lab
it
to be
is
established
not being
outside
used.
the US.
Of course,
And they were in China,
pipeline
they were
was
in
a
India,
problem.
and
Pipeline
because
has
we
been
knew,
constructed
him,
very
we
late.
were able to
In fact,
invite and
that
bring
is
him
another
to our
shame
state.
for all of
Now,
us.
That's where
It was
Einstein
only
made
last
atom
year,
bomb, and that's
after
actually-
13 years,
and
that
in
the,
2006 when he visited India, 2006 or
Bangalore
7,
pipeline was
he visited
commissioned,
India.
and the
40%
pipeline
of the
to
US patents used to
Bangalore
be from
will
Bechtel
be ready
Corporation.
only because the other
40%
day
of
I
all
met
US
the petroleum
patents. Now, of
secretary.
course,
He was saying that by
the landscape has
December,
changed dramatically with
the
all the
pipeline
emerging high-tech
to
companies.
Bangalore will be
But the
ready.
point
And once
is,
that comes,
We have
the
to really
advantage
come
will
up
be
with-
that it
at
will
the
get
national
connected
level, they have now
to
created
the
quite similar
national
to
gas grid.
The US have.
Now,
So US Science Foundation.
You see, what has
we have
happened
created
is,
in India, if you
in
don't know,
Gujarat, why is it
there's
that there
something
is
called
so much of
NRIF,
popularity
that is
with gas?
National Research and Innovation
Because
Foundation,
first of all, it is,
which is
it
basically
doesn't produce
coordinating
too
the
much of
research
pollution.
taking place in all
You
the
can
organizations.
even
There are so
smaller,
many
start a
organizations
small
through
business
which government of India is spending money.
using the
And
city
we
gas
should try to
connection,
do. We should do
pipeline
research.
connection. Even with that.
In
But
technology,
industrial
actually, we
connections,
cannot do
I was
just
looking at the
research and
statistics.
knowledge and
Gujarat
leave it there.
alone
It
has
to
got
lead to
more,
technology and products
almost
so that we are able to use it as well. So that
20,000
is one of the
industrial
areas for
connections
Kerala.
already.
The second point,
And
this is about
from there,
how
from
the R&D side.
from
The
Dahej,
second point
whatever
is
city gas
all
connections
of
have
you have
gone,
heard
nearly
in
70
different
lakh
labs, the disruptive impact of
connections, domestic connections are
It
there.
means
Even
different
some of the
things to
domestic
different
connections
people.
are used
We
for
were
small
saying that the
businesses.
future of jobs are
So
changing,
that,
disruption is
that
happening.
kind of uptake of
but
gas
it
is
is
not
now
happening
here with us.
in the state. So one of the things
If
I
I
had
look at
suggested
my
was that
field,
we
which
should
is IT,
make use of the, the
technology,
present highway
we
construction
employ
that is going on
Indian IT
to
sector
Trivandrum.
employ 58
So we should be able to, because
5.8
northern
million software
side, the gas
engineers.
connection work is
And it
already
creates
happening.
huge amount
Southern
of
side, we
opportunity
should
because
try
of
and
multiplier
lay the
effects.
pipeline when
And if
simultaneously
somebody is
along
actually,
with this
we used to
construction
have
of the
even
national
when
highway.
Jodhilal was the IT secretary, we even created a slogan supporting IT, supporting
So
people
we need to,
because
what I'm trying to say is
regardless of
that
the
we need
background
to
from somebody
really
is
take
coming,
charge of the,
if she or he
or
is able
take
to get a
advantage of
job
the gas
in the IT
availability
field in one
and
generation,
at
they
least
get
make
to
use of
different
this
level
5 million
strength.
tons that
So
we
it's
are
such an inclusive thing.
already,
But this is
we have
hugely
installed the
disruptive.
capacity.
Out of the 58
So
lakhs
the other
of
things
people that
generally
we
I will
employ,
mention.
not less than 70%
Kerala, we
is
have
involved,
this
either directly or
590
indirectly in the
almost
process of
kilometers
code
of
generation.
coastline. So blue
write computer
economy
code.
is the biggest
Now, ladies
opportunity
and
that we
gentlemen,
have.
with the help of AI,
And
we should be
blue
able to
economy,
have
the most
considerable
important thing
part
is making
of
sure that the
draft
coastal
code generated
livelihoods
by the
are
machine.
safe. And
this
there is also
will
coastal
have an
resilience.
impact, a huge
These are the
impact on it.
biggest
It has a social
pieces
impact
in
too.
blue economy.
And we should be
Industry
very
comes
careful how we deal
subsequently.
with this in our country,
But
in our state.
livelihood
Because in our state,
diversification and
are
skill
aware of their
development
rights and
of
they
people
are-
in the coastal region,
we
etc., are
could be
equally
militant
important.
as well.
But
We
you
can
know,
clearly see
if you look at
head
the
head
website
counts
of
not
countries like
we can
Norway,
clearly see
Norway's
layoffs
total
coming
9%,
because most of these companies
9%
are
of the
expected to
GDP
renew their
of Norway
contracts at 30,
is
40%
only
discounts.
doing aquaculture.
So as a result of which,
So
we
these are
could see
lessons
some
that we
sort of
can learn.
a push there.
Only doing aquaculture,
What does
pisciculture,
it mean
etc.
to us and for this conference?
Norway is
That is,
developing
we should really
9%
look
of their
at how
GDP.
do
That
we
is the
upskill our
kind of
AI will
the
not
level of
actually make you redundant. If you
possibilities.
don't use AI, if you
Then,
don't walk side by side with AI, it will make you redundant for sure.
So on,
It's not only in IT field,
I have already
every
given a
field that
paper
you are in.
on this
Whether you
blue
are a
economy
lawyer, an attorney,
possibilities.
or a
So I
teacher,
don't want to go into
whether you are a
more
medical
details
consultant
because
or a business
time is also
consultant,
running out.
all of that
So-
will be affected. And we have to ride this wave.
This,
and we
this
have
I
to
will lead
allocate
to,
funds
I
for
will
it.
leave it to
We have to come up with frameworks, how
Dr.
do we
Divya,
actually
that is
use it as
free
an
trade warehousing
opportunity.
and,
and
you know,
not be
logistics,
crushed
value
by
addition,
it.
etc. Some
And then
of
do
this
the
work has
normal things
already
that we would
started
have
in Cochin,
protested,
and I am
and
sure
that
that
will
there is
see the
much more
flight of
scope.
jobs and
And
companies
when
from our
in
state.
Vizhinjam also we need to have
I think
a
that's
large
very
number
important for us
of
to know.
these,
Now,
you know,
giving you
logistics
that
and
a
CFS
shock, a little bit of a
units,
shock if it's
so
a
that
shock,
when
but I think
Vizhinjam takes up the, you know, domestic
if we don't know where we are, no
business,
map will help us.
this will become
isn't
very
it? I think
important, and it's
quite
very important
for us
that
to know
these
where we
things are,
stand. Now, if you look at
our
what should be that
attention is paid
being
to
the
this.
background,
I'm certain that.
and also the
we are
background
also in
of
Cochin
having
also, I think,
achieved significantly
we
during
have
the
already
early stages
started.
of Kerala.
So
Human Development Index,
Then,
Sustainable Development, the least poverty state.
one issue
and
I
the
wanted to
least
draw your
corrupt
attention
state
to
and
is about
high
balancing coastal
usage of
trade.
internet,
Coastal trade is very
smart
important,
devices, all
but
of
you
this.
know, very large number of
What should be
items
our
are coming from
And I would like to
from
also
Kandla
cite
or from
cite
you know,
what is
from
the
Gujarat
strength of our
ports to Kerala.
What are the strengths
And
of
most
Kerala?
of the these ships are
As an
going back
investor, as a
empty.
business person, and also
So
a
this,
person
I
working
mean,
with
I would
always
like to leave this
the
thought with some
government
of you
successively, one after
as to
another. I can
are
say
there
these four
are
things.
there
One,
areas where we
our
can develop
people
exports
are, not all
back
of them,
to
and considerable part are
Gujarat
not in the state, but
or to
we have no
neighboring
depth of talent, absolutely
states
great
like
talent. Number two,
Rajasthan or Madhya
if you
Pradesh or other
look
North
at the
Indian
kind of
states?
industries that we are talking
Because
about, infrastructure
these
is
ships,
great
when they are
in our
going
place.
back empty, there is a lot
And
of
number
capacity
three,
being wasted, and we
have-
can
there
do
is
a
no
lot
other
of
state in the country
profitable
which
trading
I can say with
on
experience.
certain
the
items.
access to
I
the
have thought about
bureaucracy,
some of those things,
the
but
people who
I would like
implement
to
and
leave it
organize
to the
policy,
business,
and
to
the
the
access
trade.
to the
But
executive,
trade must be
the
aware of this
ministries.
also,
There
that
is-
many
I
of
cannot
these
find any other
ships are
state
going
having
back
that. I'm not saying that they
empty.
will solve all our
But
problems.
this is
but at least
an
we
area
have a
which
door to
needs
knock. We can actually
serious,
access. And the last one,
serious
this is something that I
consideration.
keep saying.
Then cruise
Regardless of the
and
protests
coastal
that
tourism.
we make, we are a very
Now,
stable state, socially and
Cochin
politically.
gets the
We will
largest
not
number
have a
of cruise
situation where a CEO will
ships
get
in the
beaten up
world.
if
I
you
mean,
start a
sorry, I'm
company
so
here
sorry,
because
in
even
India,
much
in India.
before that, there will be
The
protests
largest
and
number
that
of
situation will not
visitations
arise.
of
There's
even
high
the
degree
most
of legitimacy
prestigious
in our
ships
state.
are coming to
See,
Cochin
rules
rather than
and
to
laws
other
are
ports
there
in the
all
country.
the states.
Now, Cochin
But
should be able to
the-
make use
a
of that
population
facility
who is
to,
people, citizens who are aware of their rights, that
further,
interplay brings the legitimacy.
you know,
So these
expand.
are our strengths.
But the real
do also
promise
have our
lies
predicaments.
in starting what may be
What's our
called
predicament?
home
If you really
porting.
want to look
Because
ahead,
unless we start
and
home
if you want to
porting, this
predict the
business
future
of
of a
one
place,
ship visiting once
in
a day,
economics, the
once
economic
a
future
while,
of a place, there are
will
three
not
things
help.
economists use.
But if we can have home
It's called
porting
the
from
flow
Cochin,
of talent
we can
of
have
people,
much
flow
more
of
business.
capital,
And you
and
see,
flow of goods and services.
Indian domestic
the flow of so
tourists
a-
are
a
going in
place
search
will
of
become
cruise
great when
experience to
you
other
are able
countries
to
like
attract,
Europe
nurture,
or America
and
or
retain
Singapore, Malaysia, etc. So
That's
that
very important.
business can be
Number two,
attracted here.
we need
So
to create
making
meaningful
Kerala
jobs.
a
Why do
cruise
people
tourism
leave a
hub
place? Is because they
and
want to have
home porting
well-paying
opportunities
jobs.
is something that
And for that, we have
the
to have
trade
investment.
should
Not only our
should
own
consider
investment, we
seriously.
should also be able to motivate others
Then
to come and investment. Like
coastal
all the efforts
tourism
that we are
itself
actually doing is
within,
to actually
our coastal
motivate others
region.
to come and invest here.
the challenges and
And
opportunities
that
I have
is
listed
another
here.
one, that's flow
I'll
of
be
capital.
circulating this
And the flow of goods and
presentation.
services, whether you are a net consumer
As I
or a
mentioned,
net producer.
we
If
need
you're a
to
net
ride on the
consumer,
surge in domestic
your
tourism.
income
In
has
fact,
to be supplemented
India's
by
domestic
something
tourism
somewhere.
is
It's
really
happening in our case,
expanding
it's mostly
in leaps and
PNR
bounds,
case
and it
space.
is time for
In all
Kerala
these
tourism
three
as
counts,
a
ladies
whole,
and gentlemen. Flow
and
of people,
especially this
that means
domestic,
healthy migration,
coastal
and the
tourism
flow of goods and services,
in particular.
because Minister
take
would
advantage
definitely
of
know with the
this.
GST collections, we clearly know the interstate
This
trade
is
and
another
the
area that is
surplus. We are
bunkering,
hugely attentive
is an area which needs to be
And also
considered
the
seriously
capital
by the
investments
business. Because
of the FDI that we received last year in the country,
you know,
which is about
Cochin
50 billion. Our
has
receipt
got
is not
all the,
commensurate. Most of our investments
you know,
are
the
with
prerequisites
people who are
for a
investing
bunkering
within the
terminal.
country.
Because
So
we have
the economic
a very
prognosis
large
has to be
refinery
better.
here. The BPCL refinery
For
is
that,
here.
we have to
And also
do
the
things
LNG
better.
regasification terminal
Let's
is
actually
here. So
visualize
both
what
for
can be the vision for this
traditional
year. I'm taking more
bunkering
time
as
than
well as
probably
LNG
allocated.
bunkering. The
I would
facilities
see
are
the vision of
available.
our state
A
should
ship
be
starting
the
from
finest
the
place
Gulf
to live,
region,
that
for
we can stop
example,
there.
instead of carrying
Kerala should
fuel,
be
full
in our
tank
minds, in our
fuel
hearts,
right up
in
to
anything
their
and
next
everything that we
destination
do.
port. They
We have to
can,
keep in
you
mind,
know, they
our
can,
vision,
if
the
they are
vision of
doing
this place
halfway
is the
refueling
greatest
in
place to
Cochin,
live.
they will
If it's a great place to
substantially
live, it will be a
gain,
great place to work as well, there's no
in
doubt
that
about it.
process. And
And if that's the case, there
Cochin
are only
was
two things I
looked
would
at
request the
in
government
the
to
past
focus
also.
on.
Now
Only
also
two
some
things.
bunkering takes
Only
place.
two things.
But even a small
Clean Kerala.
GST
This
or
should be a
small
clean
component of
place.
tax
You know,
sort of
properly waste
discourages
managed, clean waters, clean
the
backwaters,
business.
swimmable.
And so
you know,
what
backwaters,
happens
all
is
of those.
the
second one is safe
shipping operators,
These
they find
both
it
are
more
highly
convenient
lauded one, and
not
all
to
of that
do
is
any
referring to
bunkering in
infrastructure
India
and our social
because
behavior.
India's taxes
What is
are
safe
very
Kerala?
high.
Safe Kerala
But if we
means
can give them substantial
safe to drink
reductions
water,
or even do
safe
away
to
with
eat
tax,
food, food, safety
in
from
that case,
disasters,
the business
and
will be
safe to
attracted
travel
because,
roads.
because that will
If we
lead to
make
other
these
kind of
two
incomes. the
The
port
rest
will
will
be
be
able to
done
get.
by the
And when they
enterprise
come
in
for
Kerala.
bunkering, they also procure
So when
various
you
other kind
frame
of,
our policies,
commodities
if you do
from
this,
the local
and now the
sources.
beauty
And
is
that can be a
that
very
we
good
can work
thing. And
from
slowly
Kerala.
some small
You can work anywhere,
taxation
work from
can be
anywhere
given.
and
But
work from Kerala.
a
So this
very
should be
heavy
our
taxation
And if
on
you- we can
bunkering
talk about all
has
kinds
been, has been
If you really
amounting
want to
to
address the
our own,
unhealthy migration which you and me
inflicting,
talk about, because
inflicting
people
pain on
live in
ourselves.
mass, we have to have
So some of
successful
the,
enterprises, profitable enterprises, very profitable
the
enterprises,
way forward
and well-paying
I
jobs.
have listed out
It
here
cannot
as far
be
as bunkering
government
is
jobs.
concerned.
It has to be very successful enterprises, more
And,
profitable. We have a problem, that's the
one,
legacy of the British.
One
Profit was associated, and it was perhaps
important
right.
suggestion
to
is that we need to
exploitation.
have, simultaneously,
today profit
we need to
means
do
that you
a
produce
lot
more than
of
what you consume.
manpower building
And you do
and skill
what is
building.
needed by the
In fact, I
people,
was just
and
mentioning to
do it
you
efficiently.
about
That's what
China.
profit means.
When
We
they
have to change
set
the
up the
mindset.
shipbuilding
Let me also
cluster,
take this
they
with the
will also
minister
have
here.
an engineering
We
college
do have it because of
to
our
build,
colonial legacy. When they left us 200
educate
years, we did not grow.
future
Our
ship
country did not
engineers
grow
or,
during the 300
you
years.
know,
Of the 300 years, 200 years, we didn't grow.
maritime
88 of the 100
professionals of
people of
various
this country
kinds,
could not read or write
educate
when they
them,
left.
technicians of different
And our
kinds.
average
So
life expectancy
skill
was
building
32 in
and
1947.
generating that kind of manpower
And from there
is
we are
equally
here.
important.
And so therefore we do
we
have a
also
problem
need
with
to
corporate
think
because they
of
were corporates.
that
What
kind
is
of,
a corporate?
we do have,
Ladies and
in
gentlemen,
India, we do have a
you
number
start
of
as a
places
startup.
where merchant
Then
navy
you have one or two more branches.
training is given.
You move to another
But
state.
that is at a very
you
basic level.
probably
Even the
operate
Indian
globally.
Maritime University
Then
produces
you need to have
some of the
compliances,
basic
governance, process. That's what it
education courses
Ladies and gentlemen, we
in
have to learn
maritime,
to use the private
you know,
sector far more
engineering,
effectively than what we are
etc.
just. I would
But
like to
I
take
have
this
a
one
feeling
example
the time has
of
come
TCS
for us
managing
to go in
passport
for
service. How was
you know,
passport service in India
education
before
at the cutting
and
edge
how is
level
it today?
of technology,
And if
as
you
well
really
as
look at all
various
of our
other kind
airports
of
here in
skill
India all
building
days,
and also research.
now you look at.
So
and-
that is
and
one area that
if
we
I'm
need
saying
to
this,
look at
whether
seriously.
private sector or public
So-
sector, it's our own people. It's our
So
own
I have
people.
summed
Nobody
up
is bringing people
whatever
from
I
outside.
have to
Except
say
that, like what the minister
in
said,
two
there should be
slides
enough
here,
money for the
slightly
government for
difficult
public
to
spending.
read.
All the infrastructure,
uh,
basic health, basic education, law and order. all
So
of this
I
only
have
government can
suggested,
do, private
why
cannot
don't
do.
you pick a
In my
few
view, government
moonshot
should be able to get
sectors?
more and more
and
and
go
more tax
all
money,
in.
but generating
There
more
should
and
be
more
like
GDP
clusters
and
that
consumption,
we
not
mentioned.
by increasing the tax
Would
rates,
Kerala
but
be
increasing
willing
the
to
tax
go
net.
for some big bang
So,
projects
I
with
strayed a little
disciplined
bit around,
execution?
but let's actually
Like
focus
5
on
or
few
6
things,
world-class
enabling things and the
clusters
government not
with
directly
shared
getting
labs.
involved.
Because
Let's
doing
actually
a few
focus on
things here and
R&D.
there,
Of
we
course,
can do
IT,
incremental
tourism
increases, we
sectors,
can
all
do,
these sectors
build
are
a,
promising for us,
build a
healthcare is
boat,
promising. I think
you know,
all of those
construction
will
thing or
emerge by itself.
you know, small
If government
factories
can
here and
actually
there.
limit
That's
and
not
restrict
going
its
to
focus
take
on
us to
some
the
of
level of
areas.
China.
Clean Kerala, this
You
has
know,
to be the cleanest
that
place.
will,
It should be
we
very
have
proud of
made,
this place.
India has
And
made
this should be the
incremental
safest place for
increase
people
in
to
our,
live. And then
in our
everything will fall into
developmental
place.
thing.
It's
But
become
if
a
we
little bit
have
generic,
to
but I
go
hope
at
it
a
was
much
useful. Thank you.
faster pace, we have to be very audacious. We have to think really big. We cannot be happy with making small little businesses here and there. Just to make 100 crore business or even 1,000 crore business, that doesn't help. We have to be absolutely audacious. So on that, you see again, land, etc., we have to think of massive land pooling concepts. And if the government tries to take the people into confidence, land pooling should not be a very big problem. But for that, a good incentivizing should be done. But policy certainty and speed are important, and finance is important. So like this Kerala Growth Fund, 1,000 or 10,000 crores of growth fund, something big we have to think of. And also, most importantly, our labor has to be on board. In fact, when I was in Cochin, my 50% of my time was spent only on fighting labor.
So thanks a lot. Now
unnecessarily,
next I invite
every
Sri
day
CJ
there would
John.
be a strike,
He's
and
apparently
in
he
fact,
started the
I have
Geojit Financial Service. I think
recently
probably
written a
one of
book
the
in which I have
Kerala,
described
two
how
people I like
the
in the
labor
stock market. One
issues
is,
we used to tackle
Purunju
them,
Veliyathu.
and how
He
we
started
have been,
small, but
of
he
course,
has-
finally
here,
things were resolved,
he
that
has
is a
brought
different
the-
thing.
how
But how we
Kerala
lost a
he
lot of
started
precious
something called
time
financial
in dealing
literacy,
with that.
so that they
And
make
it's
every
not only
Keralite
that, it's not
financially
only loss of
independent.
time.
He should not
Many
be totally
people who
dependent
want
on-
to
so
do
how to
business
make
with
it.
us,
Capital
they get
market is where you
discouraged
can
and
get
they
the money.
walk
We
away.
have built a
So that
strategies
should
by
not be
which you
allowed
can
to
exit,
happen.
entry
So
and exit
governments
with
will have to
zero
take
loss of capital, as well
labor
as we can
into
make minimum
confidence.
2% every
Then,
month. I think Geojit,
So simultaneously
and
develop
maybe new
talent,
ways, innovative ways,
R&D,
like InvIT,
research is
REIT,
absolutely
how best
important.
we can use for
And
infrastructure, probably
then
he will enlighten us.
simultaneously, green license kind of a culture we have to make sure, so that mandatory ESG should be mandatory, zero liquid discharge norms, coastal ecosystems restoration and climate resilient infrastructure. This is absolutely important. And then there has to be a delivery discipline also. I have suggested the Chief Minister himself should, monitor it periodically and give a 100-day kind of target. So something like that, very broad
contours
contours of such a scheme I have mentioned here. But unless you do something like this, we cannot reach, or we cannot even keep pace with countries like China or other countries in Southeast Asia. Because they are going very fast. Even countries like Vietnam, they are going extremely fast. But if we can do that, I have suggested here that we may be able to do 100 billion. If you have those 5-6 clusters, 100 billion export and a 5 million formal jobs in about 20 years. So that is what I have suggested here.
It's only
And,
got started in 2018, 17, 18 or so. Then
So,
in 2 years we got COVID.
building a center of
Today,
excellence I
there
have
are some
mentioned,
best examples
and
of
I'm going somewhere in the opposite direction.
raising capital for CapEx.
So we need to choose the right sectors, high value, low ecological footprint, knowledge and design exports, blue economy, agri-marine value add, and digital trade infrastructure. All these things will have to be together.
We could even take this to Panchayat levels.
So
Maybe there
this
is
is the last
requirement for
slide that I
enabling
have.
regulations,
The existing,
some from the
because
central
this was,
government. But we must argue with the
this
central government, either
conference
central
is being
government
hosted
should
by
use
the finance
resources,
department, I have mentioned it
allocation,
here.
or
The
to
existing
provide us the
narrow
necessary
manufacturing
infrastructure,
export base does not
regulatory
bode well
infrastructure so
for
that the
Kerala.
Panchayat level also,
We need to have a port-led
project-wise,
development strategy
special purpose
that can
vehicle-wise,
generate
we should be
high-value
able to raise
employment,
capital from
logistics revenue,
our own
and
NRIs,
tax
probably they will be
buoyancy
willing to invest
without
in,
adding
bonds.
fiscal strain.
So this is one
Cochin
thing we
Port,
must
Vallarpadam
increasingly
ICTT,
utilize as
Cochin
an
LNG
opportunity.
terminal, and
I'm
Vizhinjam Port are
particularly
strategic
interested in
enablers
Panchayat
of
level.
trade,
So my proposal
logistics.
is take 10 panchayats.
So it is
take
possible
10
that if
best
we
and
all work
municipal,
together, we can do a lot of things.
corporations
But we need to think really
the
big.
state
We cannot
and
be
look at
doing
their
small
performance
things
in
here
the
and there.
finance
Tinkering is
management.
no use.
And if they are
That is all
presentable,
that I want to say.
take
Thank you.
1 year for
Thank you
making
for
them
your
prepared to raise capital from the market. And mind you, capital is available. Certainly for municipal corporations. For panchayat level, if required, government funding should be for
Thank you so much,
interest rate
sir,
subvention
for your
rather than funding directly the projects. So if 10, 15 panchayats are able to raise capital from the market.
Thank you so much, sir, for
I'm
your
sure it will capture.
valuable
Eventually,
insights
we will have the
on this
freedom,
entire
financial
maritime
freedom
sector,
to support
right
resources
from
through
shipbuilding
municipal bonds.
to port
So
operation
this is,
to capacity
the
building,
case with,
and how to
local,
create a
governments.
fast track
The other point on which
development
my
to
fellow
Kerala
panelist,
with a
Mr.
huge
Sanjay Dash
ambition
is
of
going to talk is,
$100 billion
circular economy.
export
I am of the
with
view
about
that
5
we are
million
going to
jobs
face
creation
significant,
and
crisis
10%
from voltage security
annual rate of growth.
if we don't plan right.
If we are able to create an
We have
ecosystem
models available from China,
involving
Singapore,
government,
from Japan, etc.
stakeholders,
So we
and
must
all
find
the
out how to
labor
finance
unions join together if we make a partnership deal.
the senior care
I am sure
infrastructure
the
etc.
strategical sectors which sir has mentioned,
Not
and if we are able to work on that,
line of KFC
we will be having a brighter Kerala with a huge
Finance Corporation.
revenue generation. So, and from the dependable or a dependent
Raise
revenue state
and
to an
invest
independent
that money
revenue
at
state,
panchayat
we should be
level,
able to
rural
reach.
level for, people
So once
who
again, sir,
start
we thank you so
their
much for your great effort,
to bring
the studies,
robots
and the deep insight that you gave us into the sector.
to use markets
Now,
for the benefit
I would
of
now call upon the economic expert,
senior living
Sri
infrastructure.
Veeramani, who is amongst
So
us,
this is,
to throw light on
Silver economy crisis we are
how
going to
the
face
export and
unless we
port-led
plan
development from
and
the
unless we
economist
utilize the
perspective,
market for this kind of
he will
resource
be able to
utilization,
give us
we will not be able
how to
support
reduce the
this.
logistic cost, what are the regulatory complexity that we have, how we can streamline it,
Raising funds
how to
and I'll
make
be
the
very happy to,
underutilized coastal
take any questions and
potential
Kerala
to the full extent.
raise resources through.
Now, I would request
Thank you.
Professor Veeramani to provide his insights and suggestions for a stable export
Thanks a lot.
driven by port-led development.
In fact, your idea of municipal bond, in fact, seriously, we are thinking about,
You,
give
Chairman.
almost 30,
I have a presentation to
30%
upload.
grant. Why not make it incentive
Yeah.
for
Okay,
maybe
so
25 plus 5% extra?
I am basically an economist. So the way I am looking at this issue, exports and port-led development in the Kerala context, as a big picture scenario about how this port-led development as a strategy can be used for Kerala to create growth within the state and also job opportunities within the state. So basically, I start with a historical kind of context. Kerala has a big history, historical global linkages. Kerala economy has historically been shaped more by external linkages than by internal demand. Kerala's merchants were among the principal trading partners of the Romans. There is a very recent book which was published in 24, which summarizes how Kerala was a major trading state with the Romans long time back, several centuries back. And the state's fame as the mysterious land of spices attracted traders from across the world as early as 3rd millennium BC. And from Muziris, the ancient port, to Vizhinjam, Kerala's coastal belt has connected the region to global markets for over 2 millennia. So we are not talking about something where we are not aware of, where we don't have any history. We are talking about an opportunity where we have a very rich history and experience. So from that point of view, how do we think about port-led development strategy? So one important thing that we need to change is to understand, if you are thinking about Kerala at 2031, in which we want to put port-led development strategy, there is a need for an open economy framework in our entire strategy thinking. So that means growth and job creation are tied to openness, not to a closed regional model. Our strategy need to change, where we have to think Kerala as part of a global economy, where we are participating in the production process for the whole world, not just even within the country. So what are the advantages of that type of a thinking? One is that if you are thinking about the world as our marketplace, then we are thinking about larger markets, bigger markets, where economies of scale becomes an important determinant of competitiveness. Then there are other added advantages in terms of knowledge spillover, technology spillover, etc., through global integration. And then there are gains from specialization. So when state specializes in activities where we are good at doing things, we are basically allocating our resources in the most efficient manner. That leads to higher growth, higher productivity, greater wages, and more employment. And it also leads to greater backward and forward linkages within the state. Linkages means when certain industries come up, then it creates demand for suppliers, various type of inputs, and various type of services, new opportunities in logistics, finance, IT, design, and all such as supporting activities related to export will come up. Then we already know that the the better performing sectors in our state, like migration, tourism, education, IT, all these are linked to external demand. Already, we are doing well there, tapping the external opportunities in the global market. These are all driven by external demand. And cities and port in this strategy act as nodal points in the flows of goods, services, people, capital, and ideas. So what are the key drivers of port-led development in the state? One is trade in goods, which includes our traditional spices and all that such things, agricultural products, food processing. Of course, we need to do value addition there. Then labor mobility, tourism, education, healthcare, IT, and more recently, a great opportunity exists there for what is called global capability centers.
And all the
Now,
other factors that you start bringing in.
when you think about these from an economist lens, the kind of theoretical framework, the idea that we think is what is called the idea of new economic geography. So this is a contribution by a Nobel laureate in economics, Paul Krugman, right? He thought about the idea of economic geography, he called it as new economic geography. It's a new way of thinking how economic activities can be generated in a region, in a particular city or a region. So he talks about two types of forces. One is called centripetal forces or pull forces, which basically include market access and demand linkages. When you have a larger market access, it attracts more firms. So that means exports are crucial because the state market, market within the state is very small. So we have to be part of the global market. When we are part of the global market, we are thinking about economies of scale, and therefore, exports are crucial. So if we are just, our firms are just catering to the domestic demand within the state or only within the country, then we can't achieve that type of scale that is needed for achieving greater competitiveness. Then input-output linkages. Firms locate near suppliers and buyers. So wherever buyers and suppliers are there, that is where firms will go. It makes sense for them to be closer to the bigger buyers and bigger suppliers. And then there is something called agglomeration economies, which means productivity and cost advantages from clustering. From firms come together in one location, then there are various advantages through backward linkages, forward linkages, and knowledge spillovers. Then there is the counter forces, which is called centrifugal forces. That happens when cost increases, land cost increases, wage cost increases, congestion happens, pollution happens, or resource and space constraints. When all this happens, firms move away. On the other hand, the previous factors attract firms. Then in this kind of thinking, there is a core periphery pattern. Core means ports and coastal cities, like for example in Kerala context, Cochin, Vizhinjam, Calicut, these are all core. That is where economic activities can be concentrated, particularly manufacturing and related industries like logistics and related services, etc., can be concentrated. Then there is periphery. So periphery means hinterland districts, for example, Palakkad, Idukki, Wayanad. They are connected to the cores through supply chains. So they provide labor, they provide intermediate inputs, raw materials, etc. to the core through migration and also through internal trade, domestic trade. So what is the policy imperative for the state? We need to strengthen hinterland connectivity, road, rail, logistics, and digital infrastructure so that the hinterland can benefit from the port-led growth. Now this is a picture, this is yet another aspect that we need to think about. This is a picture of Indore, the city of Indore. Now you can see here the city of, the administrative city of Indore is very tiny, the small yellow part on the left-hand side. But the actual city, which is called the natural city, is much bigger. This is taken on the basis of night light data. So if you take the night light in the city, so you can see how the actual city is spread out beyond the administrative city. Now why is this happening? It is happening because of this what we called the core periphery kind of linkage. The hinterland supply inputs and various services to the core.
All processes.
So the services are
So I
what is
went to the government
concentrated
that
in the
was just
core
after
cities.
COVID time,
In the
wouldn't we
city
put a
of
plant, wouldn't we
Indore,
put a plant? We'll be
the
having
service
50
activities
crores.
happen, mostly knowledge, IT,
is nothing,
finance,
it's actually-
healthcare, education, etc.
But they said,
But
no,
the
what is the demand?
manufacturing is located in the
What
urban
are-
peripheries.
sometimes we get into-
You
we
know,
Indians
a
are very
little
good in
far
catch
away
22
from the core
situations.
cities. So that
you
is
say
because land
this
is
is
cheaper
possible,
there, logistical,
then they say, what is
you know,
our demand?
infrastructure is there,
Okay,
clusters
you can
can be
import it.
formed, etc. So, but then
This is
they
very small.
generate,
So
they
none of the
create that
FAs will-
kind of
will
symbiotic
tell you, why do you have to spend 30
relation,
times, 15 times
relationships
what is
through backward and
expenditure
forward
on import?
linkages. So policy
is
must
where
view
I had a
cities
very
as a
big
regional
disagreement with friends.
ecosystem.
Saying that
So if you are
please
thinking about
distinguish
portlet
capability
development, it is not just the development of, say, Vizhinjam or surrounding
Capability
areas.
is
It is even
non-negotiable.
development in Palakkad or Kasargod, with which Vizhinjam can be connected. As the minister said in the
Matthews
morning,
also said, we are
that
vulnerable because
how the ships, how the transportation happens
Wherever we had
from
the capability, we are
far
not
away Haryana to Mumbai ports. So that
I'm
way we
saying
have to
today
think
is
about the
We are
corridors.
not vulnerable.
So
in
the
that
other important aspects in this context is the
Just
concept
because
of
we get the
enterprise
capability,
viability. We always think about starting
just
new
have to
enterprises,
create the
startup, new firms, etc. But what is important is whether
So
these
when you are
new
looking at the
enterprises are
vision,
viable or not.
look at
What
capabilities
is
that you are
enterprise viability means? Enterprise
when the
viability
time
means
is right,
the enterprise should be in a position to
we call it
earn
as
profit
nucleation and growth in
without
material science.
depending on subsidies.
Nucleation and
So
stable
if they are
nucleus is
able
very
to earn
important.
profit, then that
the
is
conditions
viable.
are good,
Then what
just like
ensures that? This is achieved
And some of
by
the nuclei will die
selecting
also. That is part
activities
of the fitness
aligned
function
with a region's
So I'll talk
or
about
city's
these three
comparative
areas. I've given the
advantage.
preamble.
Now we are talking about a city.
What are the
So
development
if
and growth
Cochin
vectors
has a
for Kerala?
particular
And in that
comparative
I've taken
advantage
one of them
in
and
doing
I've
certain things,
wherever possible,
Trivandrum has a
create a
comparative
roadmap.
advantage in doing certain other things.
Jyotila
So
and
that should be the focus.
And
Now who
what we
will
are
choose it?
suggesting is
It should
first
be
we
the
do the roadmap
entrepreneur. Entrepreneur
and
knows
develop
where the cost is,
rare
like,
earth
what is the
critical
cost
materials
structure is.
corridor.
So not
Which
all
is the
regions or cities
rare
should
earth
pursue the same growth path. So
they
it
are-
should not be
they are
the
mining
government
still.
or,
don't
know,
have to even mine.
officials
Sitting
or
on your backyard.
policymakers
In fact, it is
who
sitting as a
choose,
waste
who
in the
say that this is what should happen in this place.
you have
It
to
should be
go to
a
the second
decision that
stage
should
of
be left to the
knowledge-based
entrepreneur
technology.
because
I think
they
that is
know the cost structure
So if you look
for
at it,
different activities. The
every
government should be
country
providing
or a
an
region
enabling environment for
what
the
it has
entrepreneurs to
already
find
as a
out that.
natural resource.
So what determines comparative advantage of
Japan
a city
doesn't
or
have
a
natural
region?
resource,
It
it
is
has a
factor
different
endowments. Factor
paradigm.
endowments
Luckily,
means
we have a
the
paradigm
availability
in
of
which we can
skilled
also-
workforce,
We have land,
natural
agri,
resources,
forest. Land,
coastline,
if you look at agri,
etc.,
forest,
and
land,
infrastructure and
you can
connectivity,
start
and
making
the
sense.
institutional quality, which means
I'll take
the
only one
business
example,
environment,
forest-based
quality of
products or
governance.
agri-based products.
All this
Today, if you
determines
want to
the
do
comparative
agriculture,
advantage of a particular region
go for
or a
precision
particular city.
agriculture.
So based on that, it is possible for the
Agriculture is not
entrepreneur
that
to identify
farmers are
what are the
poor, we are a
opportunities which
agri-
are
agrarian,
available in a
nation,
particular city.
70%
And
of
government
our,
should come
we keep on
as a
repeating it every
enabler
day, that the
to
dialogue is
create
not
that type of ecosystem
today in
so
Bihar,
that
a
entrepreneurs
couple came back
can
and started
exploit
making
that
strawberry.
comparative advantage that is available.
In their
We also
father's
need
land,
to keep
which is
in
only
mind the
1 or 2
global
acres.
context.
They said
We
in
need
1
to
or 2 acres,
understand that
nothing is viable.
multinational enterprises,
So they started
they
making
account for 2/3 of the world exports. It is not a small
that's what- So the
firms that
precision
do
agriculture
trading.
and careful
Trading
utilize-
is
I mean, there are a lot
entirely
of things.
almost
There is,
2/3 of that is
hydroponics,
controlled by
aquaculture. You can
big
do lot of things,
multinational
example,
companies.
but I'll just give you
If
an
they are controlling
going to
it, we
use
cannot think
knowledge
about a
to,
strategy where we
exploit
keep
the,
them out.
natural
That is
resource
not
very,
possible.
very carefully.
And multinational companies
Flora and
organize
fauna,
their
that is
production
your,
activities and
every
trade
place will have
within
it, and
what
this
is
place
called
has a lot.
global
Sea,
value
coast and
chains.
rivers,
So,
that's the blue
they
economy.
set up production
And
activities in
what nature
various
gives you.
countries, various
Where even
locations,
if people
based
are there,
on
you have to
each
because you can't
location's
change that.
comparative advantage.
Geology
Based
gives
on that, they set up their
minerals
subsidiaries, their
and
firms,
energy
etc.,
sources, fossil
across the world, and then
this is what
manufacture
you have as
goods
resources.
based on
you
parts
have to
and
put
components which
knowledge
they
enzymes
procure
on
from
it
different
and
parts
take
of the
out
world. So in this
Professor,
context,
just
what is thing
we would
that has
request
to
you
be
to
created
come
is
complete within this time.
I'll
knowledge
complete
and
it.
technology
2
resources
minutes.
you have to get.
You can take
you
your time,
cannot
but
keep-
within 10 minutes.
You-
Yeah,
should
that
not
will be
listen.
done. That will
Stop
be done.
tethering.
Definitely, yes.
You can't tender
I
for
will
knowledge.
definitely complete, yeah. So Kerala's imperative is
When you give me
to
technology,
embed cities
you
and
can't-
ports
you should not
within
ask for
this
technology
GVC
anymore. You
network.
say, "I'll
We have to
start
think big. We
developing."
cannot
I can
think
have strategic
this in
partners.
terms of, what
But I
we
have to
can
have it
do in our
creation.
small district, small little
We
place.
need knowledge
That
tech
will not work.
centers
Because
for each
that
of
will
the
not work because we cannot
identified
achieve
thrust
economies of
areas.
scale. We
And I
cannot
am
be
suggesting
competitive. We cannot
very
compete with
important
the
is
imports from
REN
China or
critical minerals,
Vietnam or
materials,
any other country.
tech
If
or
we have to
corridor
compete with them, we have to play in the
Then you have
same
multi-level skilled HR resource. So
same
what we are saying is
playing
that skilling,
playground,
skilling,
no,
but
in
I
the
don't know
larger
what
global
to do it.
market. So
Skilling
each
means
city and
immediately it's a
region
business,
should
somebody puts it
specialize based
online,
on its
you collect some
comparative
money and you say
advantage,
6
and it
weeks
should
or
be
6
linked
months, I'll
to
give
the
you a
global
certificate
production
course.
network. And that is the only
If it
way
is, let us say, in a
port-led
particular area
development
of
can be thought about.
rare earth
And
based
another
division or
thing which you
something.
need to think
There
about is
I
that
have to
we
do
always think
deliberate.
whether it is manufacturing or services.
And here
But
when- even in
actually,
this, I don't mind
this
even if you
kind
take
of
a cess,
binary
put a
is
cess and
misleading.
take money and
It
put
is
it.
actually both because they are complementary.
Even if you say
Manufacturing
every
creates demand for
kilogram of it, I don't
services,
know. I
and
don't know what
services
Kerala is
enhances
collecting as,
manufacturing. It is both way.
royalty or
So we
resources
need
for all this
manufacturing
sand
for
that we
services
don't
and
know for
services
whatever it is.
for
But the
manufacturing.
point is that
So this is what is called
have to put it back in the
servicification of
knowledge
manufacturing.
creation.
Logistic, product design,
That is
after
the
sales
part of it.
support,
So,
customization,
vocational
all
to
these
research
are
scholars, the
important
whole
inputs
bandwidth
for
you have developed
manufacturing. But
and
they are
what
services.
it is.
And there
Manufacturing
are
ecosystem,
specialized
others have covered
units,
very well. High-tech, digital
establishments
and
for these,
sustainability.
which is
Services
called
based
the Global
technology.
Capability
The last
Centers,
one, I don't know whether you can
which
see it,
provide
but
service
you have to become
inputs
a
for
financial
manufacturing.
attractor.
And India hosts
Others are more,
1,500 global capability centers, which is
well-versed
almost
in that and expertise to
45%
talk about it.
of
I'm
the
not going
global
there. I could only manage,
GCCs are based in
self-financing tech
India.
sector.
What they do,
high-tech
they
capabilities
handle
like
supply
business.
chain management,
R&D
quality
as a business
analytics,
is
and
more dangerous
customer
than business as a
support.
business.
And
I'll tell you
often,
an
for
anecdote
these are done for multinational
Concord was
manufacturing
inaugurated,
firms.
the French
And
SME
Thiruvananthapuram
business
and
center.
other
Two ways
cities
of
have a
running a
strong
country.
potential to attract
One, the
these
Roman
high-value
made a lot of money, start
GCCs.
merrymaking
So role of the government again, what is the role of the government?
high-tech
The first and most important role of the government is to
budget
need
overruns,
to
time
translate
overruns,
what
you
is called latent
They were ahead
comparative
of their time.
advantage.
Concord was
Why
far
I
ahead of
say
their time.
latent?
They were
Because
not
it's
looking at the
hidden.
market.
It is there,
So you have
but
to
we are
become a
not
financial
exploiting it.
attractor.
Otherwise, why Kerala,
I'll give you
with
an
so
example.
much of
always
port,
good to talk
coastline
about
and
examples.
availability of port,
2.3
skilled
crores
labor,
is the population
raw
of
materials,
Taiwan and
resources,
Sri Lanka.
everything, we don't
I
export
don't know how much
anything.
is Kerala,
We
6,
export
7?
very little. Our share in India's total export is very, very small.
So if you take
So
Sri
that
Lanka
means
was on
comparative
Iyer tourism.
advantage is there, but we are
Iyer
not
tourism,
utilizing
one is
it.
export,
So
other
we
is
have to
getting
discover
foreign
it,
people in.
and that
They
is
are
what
domestic
the government should do,
apparel
from
textile. They have
controller
their
to
own traffic at the
facilitator.
same beach
So
and
that is
UAP
what it
also
should have to do. So hard infrastructure is
Tamil Nadu
important,
coast
of
and
course,
Kerala coast
port,
is extending
transport
into
corridors, energy,
east and
etc.
west
But
side
that alone is not
Taiwan
sufficient.
went into semiconductors,
Also important
ICT,
is soft
iron
infrastructure,
manufacturing.
which includes
Heavily
legal
invested
certainty,
in
business environment,
infrastructure.
dismantle the
You
local
go and
level
read
license
about
Raj.
Taiwan,
You
you
ask
see
any
the
entrepreneur, if
expenditure
you
on
ask what is the
infrastructure was
major problem that you are facing, it is not the central government problem.
high
It's not the
proportion of
trade
exports in
liberal,
GDP,
trade
heavy
policy or
reliance on
industrial
import of
licensing.
They have to
It is the
survive.
local
Either
level
they have some other
licensing.
existing
So
fees,
that
right?
we need to get
But
rid
this
of
is how
it,
two countries
and
are
we need to
able to
have the
cross.
single window system
Government
to,
on
to
project on
enable entrepreneurs to start their business. So now another important issue in the particular context of our state, the current challenge, we need to think about a new decentralization framework. We say that Kerala is a very top-class state in terms of decentralization. Yes, that is true. Compared to many other states, we are ahead of them. But there is a major problem. Local governments in Kerala or any other Indian state act mainly as service providers. They provide water supply, waste collection, these type of basic service. They are not economic enablers. They do not have a defined role in investment attraction or industry promotion. The way forward is to grant greater autonomy for local government in taxation, regulation, and incentives. Enable local bodies to compete for investment and innovation. Reward efficiency, innovation, and performance-based outcomes. Now, I am not talking about this as a theory. There are good experience internationally. Global experience shows that empowered cities attract firms. China's experience, jurisdictional competition within China drove rapid industrialization. China's industrialization
Don't
is
fret right
primarily
away.
driven by local governments. They
What is it?
compete for investment.
We have
And
the most
incentives
Tamil
of
Nadu,
the
Kerala, Andhra
local
Pradesh,
officials,
Odisha, only these four have the
are
most
aligned
sought
with
after.
that type of a motive. Their promotions are linked to economic growth
Beach
outcomes.
sand is taken only
So,
from Veeramani and
example,
Veeramani.
a
That's the
Chinese
reason,
municipal government backed a private automaker's acquisition of Volvo, a Swiss company.
taken it.
A
And what
Chinese
has
private company
All the
acquired
other
it
players
and
have
municipal
got
government
impact in it.
provided
All
the financial support for it. So the local government controls about 60% of total public expenditure in China, whereas in India it is less than 10%. So urban local bodies lack a clear mandate or resources for economic development.
So you have
Focus
time to
remain
wake up
on
and
service
transform
delivery,
this.
not
Go
on
for the
enterprise
entire
promotion.
I put it in
So
red.
we need to
Sorry, I'm
empower
doing
urban local bodies to champion entrepreneurship, SMEs and local innovation,
choice.
build
two
city-level
more, I don't know
economic
whether you can see
strategies
it,
and
hydrogen-based
performance-linked
economic
incentives.
activity in
If we don't do that, we cannot
Advanced
have this
carbon
type of
emissions,
growth because
agriculture
it is
to advanced
ultimately this has to be done by local government.
This thing that company,
So
the
some of the challenges are here. We have limited manufacturing base, land acquisition and environmental sensitivities are there. Coordination between state,
carbon
ports
is a
and
very
local
important
bodies, skill infrastructure mismatch.
I
We
look
need
at
to
how
address all
next,
these
few
challenges.
slides, 3
So
months
this is my final
all the
slide. The
materials.
way
We
forward
had
for
steel,
Kerala,
aluminum, copper,
integrate
lead. This is called base metals.
port-led development with
millions of
urban and regional
is
planning. We
distributed
can't
throughout
think
the
about port-led development
You have 30
in
critical
isolation.
materials, out
It
of which
has
10
to
are
be
very important,
an
which is
holistic planning
designated as
where
technology
decentralized
critical materials, which can go in grams or
decision making
milligrams.
plays a
We
very
do
important
millions and
role.
millions of
Local
devices. See,
governments,
our cell
urban
phone has
local
30
bodies,
or
city
22 critical
authorities,
buttons
they
are
need
sitting
to
inside our
come and take a major initiative here.
Now, if
And
you
an
look at
enabling environment
resource
for that
inputs
need
that
to
is
be
required.
created by
Resources,
the
I mean knowledge,
government.
facilities.
Promote city-specific specialization linked to ports
So I
and
made
global
this slide
value
for
chains.
Prime
Recognize
Minister's
cities
office
as growth engines,
and
not
national,
just service providers.
critical
Strengthen
minerals mission was
urban
launched
local bodies
2.5
for
years I
investment
was
facilitation
involved in it,
and
pushing for it, but I
entrepreneurship.
started
Build
this thing,
coastal
technology,
hinterland or
equalize
core
and it's
periphery
important. Please
connectivity.
do it.
Focus on
But it required a lot of
livability,
other
that means
external
attracts firms and
forces
skilled
too.
workers.
Low,
So
medium,
build
high.
ecosystem
Today,
attractive to global firms and GVCs,
Ani and this thing
leverage
sitting
diaspora
like, I just
networks
have
for trade and
medium
investment.
level of
We
inputs,
have all
knowledge,
this
facilities,
within the
finance.
state, but
I
we
get the
need to
highest
think big, act big, and the government
force
need to
multiplier effect downstream.
think fresh
And
in
if you
terms
look
of
at carbon,
an enabler
hydrogen,
and ecosystem developer
platinum group,
rather than
lithium,
as a
then
controller
have
of
medium to
activities.
high. So you start
Thank you.
investing today, you will get it. So hydrogen is very important because I think you are already
Thank you,
well
Professor
advanced in that.
Veeramani, for
in
your
terms of rest of India.
very detailed
Because it is not geography
structural
dependent like Middle East or
presentation
China has resources.
highlighting the need for
And it is totally technology
various
dependent. It
reforms
is totally knowledge.
as well as shifting of
Either you
focus
crack methane or you crack
from
water.
cities to the combining these development along with urban as well as
So we
regional
can use it in
planning,
processes. So hydrogen
taking
economy
relevance of
include
global
carbon
value
and
chain,
critical minerals economy.
the role of
Here I
local
can
body.
please let it be-
So all
I
these
encourage only
new
Indian
inputs
companies.
that you have
So I've
highlighted
developed two
today
companies, so I created a
must be
special purpose
definitely facilitating our government as well as the stakeholders to combine together to come out with the policy which can make Kerala into a manufacturing, prospering state over and above the service sector that we are excelling today.
It is not that by
So now
accident you can easily get
we have with us the chairman of CII, Mr. Razak,
because you have a
who is on, who is getting connected virtually. So may I request Mr. Razak to highlight the role that CIS is playing
So if I give star rating,
in as a catalyst for aligning the industrial needs up with the national port infrastructure, policy makers, along with the export strategies.
risk. What is your
Mr.
supply
Razak,
chain? Is there a
we are
risk?
looking forward your views.
Second,
So good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
if you don't get spares tomorrow, what are you going to do?
Okay. So let me first of all express my sincere apologies for not being able to join the panel discussion in person today. Footwear cluster meeting was called by MSME department for discussing a seminar as per the direction of PMO office, and was convened today actually, and my presence was a must on that meeting. So sorry for that, and I'll try my best to present the part of CII with regards to the subject. So, as we already heard from our respected dignitaries Ramachandran sir and Veeramani sir, so they have completely outlined what is happening and what are our strengths and where we should focus and how we should go ahead. So let me start with Kerala, as already Veeramani sir expressed that we have an historic legacy of welcoming all the foreigners from Arabian Romans or various other business people from abroad. But we could not take it forward, or we could not capitalize on those initial historical data. We are very stuck with some problems. So as in India, we only export around only 2.6 to 3% to the globe, and from Kerala, our export is less than 2%, not even matching to our population percentage. So we have a long way to go, and we have long way to plan, and there are a lot of things to do. So on that background, so what CII can do is, or what CII is offering to the members and to the country and state. So we CII actually we have a dedicated export, global market facilitation center, and with a major of our Confederation of Indian Industry is 130, as you know, 130-year organization, and CII play vital role in improving exports and other business matters. So one of the major point is that policy advocacy. So where PII interact with the industry and government to ease the doing business with various sectors, and specific to certain sectors also. And market access and promotion, we have organizing a continuous B2B meetings. We do a lot of delegations. We do a lot of engagements with foreign countries. And CIS dedicated international desk and offices across around 11 countries, and wherein the industry members can reach out to these offices to explore those markets. And CII have around 300 MOUs signed with various chamber organizations across the globe. So this will help CII to interact with any country and any sort of industry for the benefit of the members. And recently, and there is also capability building and standard through continuous training and awareness. CII helps to align with the international standards, certification and sustainability benchmarks. This enhance global competitiveness of our Indian industries. So recently I had an opportunity to go on a Sri Lanka delegation, wherein we could interact with including the top officials, including the president and prime minister of the country. So wherein we could explore possibilities of mutual benefit, and there was the delegation was a very successful one, and during last month. So and the delegation is again continuing. Actually, we are having another few delegation aligned for Africa. So this will all enhance the potential for Indian business, or as per Kerala business people to explore the global market. So what CII can do is to enhance on these capabilities and to find out the products suitable for those different markets. So once we have the market abroad or this thing, definitely the port and the connected industries can further enhance. So currently, as we know, Vizhinjam port, which is very close to the international route, which is going, it's the strength for us now. But as we all know, we have certain limitation with regards to land and with regards to our current connectivity between these. Though we have around 17 ports, in which 7 and 8 are I think operational to some extent, but the connectivity between these ports are still need to be improved for making use of the our strength in what we have it in Vizhinjam port. So immediately what we can suggest is that we should have a, as suggested by the earlier speaker, we should have a policy which covering the entire aspect, not from the side of the government alone. I mean, the industry and other stakeholders, we should have a policy wherein we can, it should be covering 360-degree, not by at least one point. And Ramachandran has already mentioned, when China is planning a shipbuilding center, they also plan a steel manufacturing unit nearby. So something similar we need to plan based on our strength. So we do have a lot of rare earths with us, which is now the most important product which is world is looking for. We know the world is moving to the EV direction, and we have a lot of resources with us. So we have to have a plan for how we can make use of this one, and that is completely on the coastal line. We do have around more than 10% of our, I think the India's coastal line is with Kerala. So we have a lot of opportunities there. So we would urge the government to create policies based on that. And from the CII side, CII have a center of excellence on logistics, wherein CII can work with the agencies and industry members and the government to create a policy completely suitable for Kerala, wherein the port-led development can be taken to the next level. So this is as part of a CII. I think we have a long way to go. So we are ready to be part with the policy making, or we are ready to support the government and support the industries to make use of our strengths and take it to the next level. So that's from my side, sir.
Inclusive and regional development and policy and governance reforms.
Thank you, Mr. Razak, for taking out time despite your other schedules to participate with us virtually. And your insights will definitely help the policy makers, and your center of excellence on logistics, which you have volunteered to interact with all the parties, whether it is the central government, state government and stakeholders, to frame a policy specific for Kerala. I think we should all try and join together to make a policy to make Kerala with a special focus on Kerala. Thank you once again. So now,
definitely, sir.
Yeah, please. If you have anything, please go ahead.
No. Definitely, we will work with the. We will have an interaction after this, and we will take it forward for the. For strengthening our port-led development ecosystem, sir.
Thank you.
Low profile
we also have with us the president of V.K.C. and also the national vice president of Seafood Exporters Association of India and vice chairman of Marine Products Export Development Authority. He takes active interest in especially in the seafood export. Not only export but also the ecosystem in which seafood processing can take place effectively, which can maximize the seafood export. So now I would request Mr. Alex K. Ninan to give his insight on the ecosystem available in Cochin Port, Vizhinjam and other non-major ports on exports and port-led development. What is his recommendations to simplify customs procedures and cut down export documentation on time, because seafood export is a very, very crucial item which has to reach on time through the trade route. Mr. Ninan.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, panelists. Good afternoon, everyone. So it's a small correction. I'm not president of V.K.C. I'm the chair of V.K.C. Task Force on Exports.
as well as
Yeah,
it monitor
so
the
thank you for the
projects.
opportunity, and I mean, I
Financial
think I'll
support
just,
with
I mean, we're just
ring-fencing
two of us
is
who
in
are in the
place,
trade only, so
and
when I
a
talk, I'll be
strong
talking on
governance
behalf of the
system
trade.
is also
So
there.
every time when the
There is
trade
a
talks,
fund trustee
we
advisory
always, I
commission.
mean, have
It
something to
acts
ask
as
for.
the trustee
That is
to
always our
ensure
case, and
that
we've always
all
been trying to a lot of people
investments
like
the fund
for, I mean,
serve
how
the
to improve the
purpose
trade.
and
Anyway,
intent
as
of
you all
that.
know, I mean, our
Therefore,
small
so
state
much
of
of
Kerala,
accountability
as
and transparency
area-wise, we are
is
very
there.
small, but the fortunate part is we have a long coastline of about
What is the
590
difference between the
kilometers,
conventional
which is very
approach
good.
and the
And not only
approach
that,
of FP?
we
The
have
conventional
an
approach, as per
advantage of
that,
having about 33 million people. We are housing
system,
about 33 million people
the
in Kerala.
significant amount of
So we have a lot
time
of advantages
was seen
otherwise also. We
required
have
for the preparation
I
of the
mean,
project
beautiful
and for
fertile midlands
implementation
we
of
have.
it, for
Then
getting
we have lush
approvals,
highlands.
to find the
Then we have
resources
about 44
and to start
rivers.
the
So
project.
potential
But
to
in
do a
the
lot of
case
things in
of,
Kerala enormous.
it actually led
And
to
not only that, we have,
escalation
over the years,
in
we have
cost
become socially very
of
progressive,
infrastructure
and our
development,
literacy rate is
which
highest in the
was a
country. I don't have to
serious
tell you all that, but
bottleneck in the
so it
path
has a
of
very large
infrastructure
workforce with
development. In the
extensive
case of Kerala
skill pool
Infrastructure Fund
also.
Board, it
Now,
serves
being
as a
endowed with all
there
these
is a balance
positive conditions,
between fiscal goals
we actually export a lot of products from
There is no
Kerala.
time
That
delay
is
like that,
seafood is one of
and it raises
the
funds in the form of debts
products.
for
So
critical
I'm a
infrastructure
seafood exporter as well.
development projects
So then we have in
against
plantation and
future
agriculture.
receivables
Then
of
we
the
have
state
gems and
and
jewelry.
enables
Then
higher capex per
pharmaceuticals,
capita
machinery,
and big
electronic
gaps
items.
in infrastructure.
Then we have spices. We have cashew. We
The
have coir.
organogram, I'm not
All
explaining,
handlooms. Then handicraft. All these things are also
but
there.
the
So
organizational
earlier,
structure
speaker had mentioned
is to be
regarding our
explained
trade
a
goes
bit
back to
because
the 3rd millennium
it has
BC
a very
also.
strong
So we
management system.
are also
The
we
Honorable Chief
Kerala was an
Minister
integral
chairs
part of
the
the
fund
spice
board,
route also
Kerala
earlier.
Infrastructure
So
Investment
we had
Fund
the
Board,
Musris port, the
and it
Baipur
is a
port, and
14-member
Kochi
board
port,
with
where
7
a lot of
independent
export
members.
used to happen to
The
Middle East and
Honorable
Europe.
Finance Minister, the Chief Secretary,
No, I think
the
see if you look at
Vice Chairman of the Planning
see
Board, and
seaports
all
have
the
always
other
been the
important,
backbone of development
persons
for
from
any
the finance
country
department
or
and law
state
depart-
also.
I mean,
So
representatives
we
of
always
finance
have a
department and law
better
department
advantage than any
and other
landlocked
independent
state.
members are there. There is an
So
executive
it is
committee.
about time that
There
we
is a
made
fund
use of
trustee and
the
advisory
opportunity what
committee.
we have.
At
And now
present,
we have one of the latest
Sri
ports
Vinod
also,
Roy,
an international
former
port we have. The Vizhinjam
Controller
port
and
also has
Auditor
come into the
General
picture.
himself
We have a
chairs
very
the Fund
efficient
Trust
Cochin port
Advisory
which has been
Committee.
running very
Then
successfully,
Investment
and it has
Management
transformed a lot.
and Management
Now
Committee
here
are
is a
there.
time which I think we need to
This is
really
the
go in for more development, more
to-
things also to
total
happen again.
Allotment chart
So if you
of
look at
FP
why
so far,
when you have a port, the advantage is when you have a port nearby you.
987 crore
So
has
you
been
save a
given by
lot of time, a
Government
lot
of
of time on
India
your logistics,
as
on the
share of
time.
motor vehicles tax
So that is one. And
share
if you're
of
handling food
cess
products,
on petrol
so
and,
especially perishable
diesel,
products when you are doing
and
it, so
as
your shelf
additional
life also can be
contribution
improved.
on the
Now let's
basis
say I'll take an example
provisions
of, now let's say
Section
we have a
7
port
of
at, we
Kerala
didn't have a
Infrastructure
port
Fund
in
Act.
Cochin or in Trivandrum. So if we had to depend on a port like
Projects
Tuticorin,
so far approved by
so easily you can imagine the trailer
case of
charges that we
infrastructure
can,
development,
we will have from taking all the way from here to that. It'll be almost a lakh of
seen
rupees.
approved,
Plus,
and the worth
then
is-
another
the
2 days
value is
delay will be there. So when you're
70
handling a
crore,
perishable
47
product,
70,
the faster you can get it out
47,
and faster you can reach it to your customer,
473,
you always stand to an advantage over there as
There is
well.
a land acquisition pool also.
Now
and
then
it
there are other
includes
risks
7
also
projects
involved
and
during
20
transportation. Let's say there is a
20,000
breakdown of a
crore
truck
is,
or an accident can
earmarked
happen.
for
And
that.
if you're handling a
That's
reefer,
also very important
container,
because
there are chances that,
case of,
there can be breakdowns in
major,
the refrigeration equipments
infrastructure
and all those
projects,
things. Those
the
things
land
also can happen.
acquisition and the cost which
So
was,
always
required
when you have,
was a great bottleneck
port
in the case
close
of the
by to
state,
you,
and
you are
therefore
always at an
this has
advantage.
become
Now,
a
how
pool
to
for
make
that.
the best of
This
it
is the
is up to each one of us. I
sector-wise
mean, our economists and
allotment
Ramachandran
graph
sir and all very
of,
detailedly they have explained
projects which are
what best
sanctioned.
we can do, how and
Of
how
course,
best we can
PWD
go
comes
about it
first,
also. Ramachandran sir had
followed by water resources, health and
given us some
family welfare,
examples on the
power
aquaculture and the
general
fishing
education.
activity, sustainable fishing activities also that can be done in our coast. And another mention was regarding the bunkering bunkering facility. So I'm just saying that why don't we do some bunkering even offshore also? If that can be done, it will be helpful for the fishermen as well. Now, see, one of the biggest inputs for the fishermen is diesel also.
Just
Now, if we can
because
have a
of
bunkering
this financial
facility
arrangement
offshore, probably
and
the
the Kochi
fishermen can
Bangalore
get
industrial
diesel at a
corridor,
lower cost also.
petrochemical
That
and
is
pharma park,
one food for thought I can
development
put it
global
across
city,
also.
life
Sorry,
science
but
park,
again, but not in
and
Kerala.
land acquisition of the
But there's a lower tax
HNL, Hindustan newspaper.
No, we have the tax
limited.
elements here.
The
There's
land has
my
been acquired
concern
with the
here
help
is
of
if you have an
the
offshore
GIFT
bunkering area outside
Along with that, I wish to add that for
offshore
all the
in the waters,
projects,
can
Kerala
give to the
Infrastructure
fishermen at a
Fund
lower
Board
cost,
gives
with,
land acquisition post
absorbing the
also.
taxes.
That was a great
So that
starting
is
in
one.
the case of the
And
development
secondly,
projects.
now you can do a lot
As
of,
you
see, if
all
you
are
look at
aware of
China, if you look at
Jawaharlal
seafood per
Nehru
se,
Urban Renewable
so a lot of
Mission,
our product
which
goes
was
as
a
a
great,
commodity product, which
initiative
means
which
we are
had
sending in,
beautiful
we are
and,
sending out
beautiful
products into
components
China,
like
Thailand, Vietnam, and
SUP,
Indonesia,
UIP,
where they are
SSMT,
getting reprocessed,
but
value
the
added, and
major
re-exported.
difficulty
So
for
that
the
is an
state
area
to
which we can
become
really think
part
of. Now,
it was
when we
that
have major ports
none
here,
of these
we can
projects
think
were
of
giving
importing
land
them. Now, if you look at
acquisition
developed
That
countries like,
was
say,
the sole responsibility
Europe
of the
or
state government. Even
or
urban local bodies
or
were not
US
able to
or
participate
even
in many of
Scandinavian
the
countries.
projects
So they
because
do a
of
lot
the
of fishing, advanced
struggle
fishing they
that
do.
they had
But
to face
unfortunately,
for the
their labor costs are
resource
very high.
mobilization in the
So
case
we
of
can
the
make
land
use of
acquisition.
those
In the case of the
material, those
PPA projects,
onboard caught
this particular
fishes
difficulty
or
is not
shrimps or
there.
whatever.
For all the
They can be
projects,
brought
it
into
bears the land
Kerala.
acquisition cost
We
also.
can do the reprocessing,
This is the
value addition,
status
and
of the
re-export.
fund
That's a big, big
disbursement
project. Now, if you look at
sectoral-wise,
China,
may
is
be
one of the
interested because
biggest
those who are there in the
reprocessing
planning
centers.
sector
So
always
we
ask
can
for
make
the sectoral
Kerala
details.
a seafood processing hub also. So which we
the
can have a lot of employment for local
Financial
staff.
year wise
And all the factories
distribution
that are
of,
there,
fund
currently they are being underutilized, their capacity
status
is
of
only
fund
being underutilized
mobilization
again.
is in
So
a
we can make use of the
consolidated sheet.
capacities
Here I
and we
want
can
to
definitely do
explain a
work
bit
wonders
about
here
the
also.
Masala bond, which was seen discussed a lot
Another
in
advantage what
media and all.
we
You
have
can
again
see
is,
that the Masala bond was one of the
I
amount
mentioned
that
regarding the
has
shelf
been
life, it's
seen
already been
there in
explained
the
earlier.
chart. That is 2,150. The whole amount has been
So,
repaid. And the
So now
other,
if you look back during COVID
either
times,
from
there was a
NABARD,
big
the
congestion
term loan
also.
which
So
we
our,
get from banks,
so we
as
found
per
it
the
very difficult to send a cargo out. There was a lot of
schedule,
congestion in
the,
Port of Colombo. So there
payment
was a
is
time
going
when
on
we had
and there
to
is no
intervene and
such
we had
gap
to
in
get
the
a
case of
vessel,
the
two
fund
vessels we had to get from
mobilization
Dubai to
and,
clear the
fund
existing congestion
repayment.
in Cochin Port. Now with this
Thus,
new development,
we
I
have a
think
corpus
that also
fund of,
can be sorted. Now if you look at even the latest, the US tariff that is being
shown separately,
imposed on us.
cess on
So the
petroleum,
condition
additional
was,
contribution from government,
uh,
and thus the total
the
allocation is
the cutoff date
24,486.
for shipment, it is not
This
from
is
the
the
date of
fund
BL, that is
position,
not leaving the port of
treasury
Cochin,
deposits, and
but
the
the
various
container
other
had to be
deposits,
boarded
and it is a
onto
total of
the
10,362
final vessel
crore.
to the port of US. That
project
was the
and
condition.
finance,
Now with
management
Vizhinjam,
system,
now we can
if
have
we,
direct calls from
has
Vizhinjam
adopted
into
end-to-end
into the main
of the
European
monitoring of
or
projects.
other ports as well.
Right from
So
the
these
starting
things also,
of
these
the
are
approval of
unforeseen things
projects,
also can happen. I think
appraisal,
those
tender verifications,
advantages also we can
deviations,
definitely have.
variations, bill payments,
Then I
everything
think,
is executed
I think
through
I'll
its
just
customized
cut short on a lot
application.
of things
The
again.
projects and finance management system.
Now,
And this
so now
sophisticated
cost is
platform
another thing. Now
integrates
every transshipment
inspection protocols,
port, they'll have a
ESG,
cost.
environmental,
So we can try and
social,
avoid
and
cost there
governance
also.
procedures
That also can
and
be done.
other,
And
workflows also.
another,
It
I mean,
enables
another
seamless
thing that
end-to-end
that can be thought of
digital
is,
management
so
of
if you look at
projects.
the seafood
ALM
containers
system of
that
50
they go to Europe, so
captures
50% of our cargo
real-time
is checked,
information
stopped,
from the
checked,
PFMS
and
system,
then only after
providing
the
its,
result is ready, then
financial
they are
predictions.
getting released. So, I mean, the
yes,
Cochin
sir,
port
and,
or the
details
Vizhinjam
will
port
be
can
shared,
think of,
and the main
I mean,
aspects of the
now
system
since
are
they have
given in
special
the next,
economic zones,
and
so they can think of setting up international
this is the
labs,
depth
having
sustainability
European
chart,
technicians based in the
which
respective
shows a
ports,
very safe position.
then doing the inspection here itself before sending the cargo out. I'll tell you,
This is the
tell you the
audit
reason why
management
we should do
system,
that.
which,
Now, a shipment from
includes
here to
statutory
Europe,
audit
it takes
and
about, I mean,
CAT audit
25 to
also.
30 days. So by the time it lands there, it takes another 15 days for inspection. inspection. And God forbid there is a rejection, there is an issue or something. So it will take another 1 month. for it, for the, to getting the container released back. So another 45 days is gone. And then your container is reshipped back, another 30 days, by the time it is cleared here. So all these things will add, there's a loss to your, to the shelf life of the product also. No, I think Vizhinjam Port or Cochin Port can think of having a most modern lab set up for the European community. So they can have the inspectors here, they can do the analysis, test everything, and only if it is cleared, it can go, it needs to leave the port. It's like having what you have in Abu Dhabi. So when you're going to the US, you can have your immigration cleared in Abu Dhabi, and you can just walk, once you reach land in US, you can just walk as a local person. So that is what, I think, a modern thing which we can really think of. And that will make life much easier also. And this is another suggestion also what you have, sir. I think I'm going to take much of a time. I'll leave it to the chair. And thank you, sir. Thank you.
With all this, we'll be able to.
Thank you, Mr. Alex, for your list of items which needs attention from the port sector. We will look into it and we'll consolidate, and I hope we will be able to come out with certain solution, especially the last 1 or 2 items which you mentioned, offshore fueling and value addition and the lab for commodities within the port limit. We will look into it and then see what best we can do. Now, we are panelists for the day. We all are aware the Vizhinjam port is a happening port, which had completed almost 1 million TEUs of transshipment within a year of its commissioning.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Though it was designated as the transshipment hub port of India, but there is a huge demand for making it as an ex-import. And I would like to request and call upon Dr. Divya to take us into the process of the Vizhinjam port expansion, how they are going to have the industrial hub around and the connectivity for connecting various hinterland into the Vizhinjam port, so that the trade will be able to move the product directly into the main lines at the earliest. So may I call upon Dr. Divya to elucidate the details of the expansion plan as well as the modernization plan, not modernization, the port cluster plan that they have.
Thank you so much.
So one of the things
I know we have limited time, and
I am not from
really
Kerala.
don't want
Sorry
to
for
stand
that.
between
I'm
you
from
and
Bombay.
lunch.
Mr. Dupila
So I
requested
think I'll
me to be
quickly
here,
run through some
and
of
I
the
said on
slides
short
and then
notice,
focus
so I
on
came
the
in,
issues
and
that
I'm
sir
into
had
business
just
consulting
mentioned,
and technology
and
consulting
try
globally.
and build upon
one of
what
the
has
points
already been
you should
said
take,
here.
as a
All
Minister
the
of Finance
pearls
and,
of wisdom that has been
is
strewn at
one,
you
to
here
make
with the
some
eminent
policies,
panelists.
simple policies.
And
Just
so
follow
Vizhinjam
Japan
International
model.
Seaport, as you all
can
know,
go ahead and partner with a
is
city called
definitely
Osaka
without a doubt Kerala's
to
gateway
just
to
get the model,
future
cut,
growth
copy,
and
paste. Don't have to
sustainable
waste time,
development for us.
because that's a time is
As I talk to you
importance
now,
in this business. And
have
Kerala stands in a cusp of amazing time because of you
525
guys lead the
vessels that has
services
already
side
come in
and
to
also the
Vizhinjam
tech
Port.
side.
And we
this
have
is
already
a beautiful
handled
business
around
where both of them come together.
11.5 lakhs of TEUs,
has taken over the
which means
technology and there's a lot
over
of
1 million
challenges.
containers have
Elder
been handled
tech and
in
care
Vizhinjam
tech
Port
is the
within
new
the
buzz,
first 1 year of
using AI,
development, as we
robotics,
can see.
everything, machine
So
learning, deep learning.
these are all
you can keep
probably
doing.
you might have
So
already
look at
known
it,
about many of these things,
as
but
one
just to set the
recommendation.
context,
Also,
as you know, it is
big
our
global
flagship
Japanese
project,
giants,
and there are various
Yokohama,
features
Toyota,
of the
any of
Vizhinjam
these
International
companies,
Seaport that actually
they
makes
are
it very
willing
unique,
to
as was
fund the
mentioned here.
initiative
One
from
is
the
that
country or the
it
state
is
level. So that's a
India's
pure actionable
deepest and
point.
most advanced
And,
transshipment
you can
terminal
all
here.
look
We
at
have a
it,
natural
and
depth
any questions
of
I'll
over
take.
20
One more
meters,
thing,
which
and that will
helps
be the
us
kind of,
receive
interesting.
and
If you
berth
want
the
Japanese around
ultra-large
you and they
vessels
want
of
them
the
to
world.
spend
So
money,
the world's
quickly they
largest
will spend
container
money, and
vessel
there
has
is enough
already come
evidence
into
and examples
Vizhinjam
available
and
in the
berthed.
world and in India
We
as
have
well.
had India's
Can you
deepest
please
draft
make a good
vessel
golf
berthing that has
course
already taken place.
in this city, in this
And
whole
we've had
Kerala?
the
There is no
maximum
golf
number
course.
of
Just make it,
moves,
they will come
container
and spend
moves,
money
that has
here.
happened in
Thank you
any
very
vessel
much.
in the country so far. So there are lots of superlatives and lots of records that's
Thanks a
already
lot.
been set in the past.
1 year, as we can see.
We'll work on 2-3 projects on
We'll
how
talk
to
about the
make Kerala
investment
as
a
the
little
best
later. I
destination
think
for
I'll just
art of not only
I'll just
living,
quickly
art of living also.
let you just have a glance of these
Next,
slides.
last speaker is
But
Dr.
I just want to
Unnikrishnan,
focus on one
KDSK
point which
Innovation.
was
They are
already
doing
discussed
lot
here,
of
which
work,
was the
including
transshipment and
lithium
the
battery.
economic
Lithium-
impact that
lithium
it would
import
have.
from
So
Australia,
as we
then
all
titanium
know,
is already here.
you know,
Lithium
India
battery,
has
lithium
been a
titanium
country
oxide battery,
which
they
lacked
started
a
making
transshipment
here.
terminal,
Lot of innovation
which
is doing.
means that,
Maybe
as
another
was mentioned
5 to
here, you
7
know, many
minutes
of
so that
these
we will take one
containers that
question at the
actually
end.
had to come into India or to any other, you know, neighboring ports would inevitably come through a transshipment port in another country, which would be either in Colombo or in Singapore or in Hong Kong or in Dubai or so. So we were actually losing revenue, transshipment revenues to the tune of 220 million US dollars per year.
Yeah.
Which also meant that 75% of our transshipment, which used to
As the
come in these
Honorable
ultra-large
Minister-
vessels, actually
Minister
came
had
in
pointed
via
out,
foreign
Kerala is a
ports.
second generation,
And that is the target
facing second
which
generation
Veeramani
problem.
has currently,
And more
and
importantly,
some of
while
the
I
newer
talk about
transshipment
the
ports in the country would have. So,
But
as we
Kerala is
all know,
primarily
you know, with
resource-based.
rapid containerization, the economic impact of maritime trade is extraordinarily huge. So there is a place for everybody in this, because every time I talk about Veeramani port and transshipment, the immediate question that comes up would be about, you know, how are we competing with Colombo, or how are we going to compete with Vadwan port or any other port. But the fact remains that the pool of trade in the maritime sector is so huge that if you consistently keep performing, you can definitely hit your target and even cross the targets that you have set for yourself, as we have been doing. So the major cost and time savings is what I want to highlight here. It cuts the logistics time by up to 2 weeks. And as he rightly mentioned, you know, time is money in this sector. So also the kind of technology that we have been using in Veeramani port also tells us that, you know, all the modern infrastructure that we have been using, advanced automation, as well as eco-friendly operations, etc., takes us to a stage where we can actually, you know, use just 10 minutes of our time to handle a container, you know, from ship to yard and back. So that is the kind of efficiency that we have today. And we have a proper vessel traffic management system which has been developed in-house for all the, you know, security reasons and concerns that people always keep raising. This is completely homegrown, you know, make in India, and every ounce of, you know, technology that's in vogue, including artificial intelligence, has been used in making sure that the navigation facilities and operations of the high-end advanced automated and semi-automated cranes are being used here. So that's what I just said.
Science education and maths
I think I've already
education, where we
mentioned,
are
I would
trying to
not want to
improve the
dwell on
education
that.
right from the primary
So
level.
along with
We have one of the best
the technological
innovation
boost
programs
and the
in schools,
infrastructure
Young Innovation
development that we
Program.
have
We
brought
have a
in,
unique program
to the
for
tune
innovation
of,
for the disabled,
Honorable Finance
which is
Minister
one
had
of its
already
kind
mentioned in
in
the
the,
inaugural speech. So around 8,000 crores of investment have already come in Veeramani International Seaport, of which around 5,500 crores have been spent by Government of Kerala. So that is probably the first and the largest investment that any state government has done in the country for a port infrastructure. So that also tells us the kind of importance that we have been giving as a government for port-led industrialization and the port sector, and the plans that we have for the greater economic impact, as was mentioned here, you know, thinking big and thinking large. This is probably the first evidence of the state government thinking, you know, big in the recent times here in economic infrastructure development. And we you know, so apart from that, we also have community initiatives which we have been carrying out over the last few years in order to ensure that the port is not only a sterling example of a private partnership, of a public-private partnership project, but also to stand out as a people's
port. So we've already given livelihood compensation and welfare to the tune of 114 crores to people in and around Vizhinjam port. And we also have a skill development and employment center, which is run jointly by Government of Kerala, by ASAP, by WISL, as well as by the Adani Group. So the kind of courses that we have developed there, we still have had only a couple of batches that have come out as far as the port infrastructure courses are concerned, but we are definitely improvising. And we are trying to ensure that every single person who comes out of our skilling center will be an asset to the entire maritime community, not only to Vizhinjam port, but whichever international port you go to, if you're from our skilling center, you will definitely be at par with excellence is what we are aiming at, and I think we are going in good stead there. So along with that, along with the port infrastructure, there will also be, new fishing harbour that's going to come up in Vizhinjam, along with the capacity augmentation, a seafood park wherein, we would really like to work with the exporters community as well, and with Government of India as well, to ensure that we have a world-class seafood park in the vicinity of the Vizhinjam International Seaport itself, and harness the potential in that to the hilt. So quickly going on to our future growth and expansion plans, as I already mentioned, we have stationed ourselves as the transshipment hub of India as of now. So that was the strategy right from the beginning. So to carve your niche in the maritime map is not an easy task, and to have done it in such a short span of time, I think really shows how Kerala as a state has taken this seriously enough and have executed it competent enough in this field. So to evolve from being a transshipment terminal to adding further layers and making sure that the port development attains its full bloom, and the entire state from Trivandrum, from Vizhinjam to Kasaragod actually benefits from it, is something that we really have to work on at a hasty manner, or at a very good momentum, as Honorable Finance Minister mentioned today. So EXIM operations, which is the export-import operations, we would start by next month. So the formal announcement will follow soon. The necessary clearances and permits have all been acquired. So the formal announcement, we'll await the formal announcement from the government soon. So hopefully by next month we are ready to start off the gateway cargo operations and the expansion of the port. The original deadline as per the concessionaire agreement was to complete the expansion of Vizhinjam International Seaport by 2045. And with the supplementary agreement which we executed last year, we have advanced it by 17 years, and the entire capacity augmentation, which would be phase 2, 3, 4 of the Vizhinjam International Seaport, it would be complete by December 31st, 2028. Now, why did we do that?
I think we will conclude this session.
Maritime sector, trade, the evolution and the speed with which the growth in maritime sector was happening is impeccable and something unimaginable, especially with respect to the kind of geopolitics that has been happening across the globe. And we really didn't want to miss out on any of the chances in maritime sector where we could have an upper hand or an early bird advantage with the newer advancements coming up in maritime trade. So it was decided that in the best benefit for the state as well as the economy of the state, it would be good if we could advance the development of the port. And we found out a practical way to do that as well. And as a result, now we'll have the entire port development by 2028. As of now, as I mentioned, we've already handled over 1 million TEUs. So that was for phase 1, that was slated to be the annual capacity, and which would mean that at the end of capacity augmentation, as per the original plan, it was probably around 3 million TEUs. But now with the advancement of technology and the kind of operational efficiency that we are achieving, we are hoping to touch 4.5 million TEUs as our annual capacity.
Because you are investing money.
So
you are
I would just
taking
quickly
loans,
take 2
you are not
minutes to
really
explain
sure
what
how
the
it will all
capacity
happen.
augmentation is all
And
about.
why I said,
So this is a plan,
it was the
master
best
plan that we
decision.
have for Veeramani International Seaport.
When I look
The
back,
first phase development,
course,
as you can
this is
see,
in
has
97
already
when I'm
been
starting.
completed, as is marked here.
Kerala was
So currently we have 2
not
container
known
berth
as
terminals,
an
which means
investor-friendly
400 meter
state.
plus 400 meter,
Lot of
800
protests and
meters
all
of
kinds of
container
things,
terminal
you know.
is already up and about.
But if
And
I
it's with
look
this
back,
800
we
meter
haven't
that we
lost
have
even a single
berthed
day
in
of work
the world's largest ships. So
because
currently we
of,
can have
any
actually
unrest of
2
any
ships
kind.
and operations at
Even
the same
when
time.
there were
Now in the second
strikes
phase,
and,
we would have
you know,
another
any place will have
1,200
strikes.
meters also added onto
at least
it,
IT was
which
completely
means that we'll
protected.
have 2,000
Because
meters of
public
container berth
realized
terminals,
and
which would
the
enable us to
government's
handle 4 to
political
5
parties
large ships
realized
at the same time.
that supporting IT
Currently, for
was
handling
actually
these,
supporting people.
we
So
have 8
that was one.
ship-to-shore
The
cranes
second,
and we have
I
24
wouldn't
yard
have been able
cranes.
to
The
create
ship-to-shore
a
cranes
culture
are
where
semi-automated
people
and the
take
yard
pride in
cranes
their
are all
work.
fully automated.
They work with a
So we would
sense of
also
integrity
add
and
on to that.
transparency.
We would have
and
another
strive for quality and with
27
deep sense of
yard
commitment
cranes
to the
more
customer.
and
That's
another
a new
12
kind of a
ship-to-shore
culture
cranes
we are
more
trying to actually
in
work. I
order to
came from
enhance the
abroad
operations
after
for
working
the rest
outside
of the
for some
berth.
time.
And
Quite
we
some
also
time,
have,
in fact,
one
almost all
of
the time.
probably the
and that's
it's
the
an
kind
engineering
of a culture I
marvel,
wanted to create.
nothing
If
short
I
of
had
it.
started as originally
This
I
is the
thought and
breakwater that
rented
you
the
see at the
place
bottom of
in
the slide.
Bangalore, it was a
When you
melting
visit the port, you will see
actually
why I call
Bangalore.
it an
So I wouldn't have been
engineering
able to
marvel.
even
So it's
create
basically to ensure that
kind
the
of
berthing takes
a
place
culture.
smoothly,
Plus,
just to make sure that the
what I
sea
told
is
you about
tranquil
what's the
within
strength
the
of
port
this
limits.
place is because
So the breakwater
we have
currently
access
is
to the
2,960
decision
meters
making,
long. We will
secretaries
have
of
another 920
I
meters
remember
long
Balagopal,
breakwater also
when,
to ensure in
Minister
this
was
capacity
actually
augmentation
the,
process.
secretary
And as
to
we
the
keep
then
talking
Chief
about
Minister
land,
from
let me also
2006 as the political
reassure
secretary.
you that
And whenever
for
that we had
Veeramani
any
International
difficulties, we were
Seaport
able to go
development,
to them and they
there
used
has
to
been
solve
no
it. So
displacement
when I put all of them
in
and add
terms of
together,
land
I think
acquisition
it's a great place to
for
do
the
business. And
actual
thanks
port
to
development
Technopark
as
and
such.
Infopark now
So
you
it's
can
a zero
come,
displacement
plug
project
and play.
in the sense that no
So
family
I
has
still
been
believe
actually
and I
taken
still
off
maintain
from
it
their
in all
land,
business.
from the ownership of their land for the port development.
I am,
However, there have been
representing
livelihood
Cochin University of
loss,
Science
and
and
that is
Technology. I am
the
Professor
compensation
Sivanandan
that I
Iyer, Dean
mentioned to the
Faculty
tune
of
of
Science.
114 crore.
My question
So
is
as we
based
talk
upon the
about
lecture
land,
listened
this
by-
area that
listened
we are
to
seeing
Professor
here,
Dr.
the
Balasubramanian.
berth terminals as well as the
These are
yards
utilization
where
of
the containers are
ilmenite,
actually
rutile,
stacked
titanium
up.
dioxide,
Currently we
critical
have
minerals, etc.
61
We have
hectares of
huge
land that has been
resources, but there is
reclaimed
a
from the
huge
sea
knowledge gap
in
between
phase
the
1.
research and innovations
In the
coming-
capacity
conducting
augmentation,
in
we would
industry
have
and the
another
universities.
71
Once
hectares
upon a
of land
time,
which
the
would be
titanium
reclaimed from the
dioxide,
sea again
preparation,
for the
commercialization,
rest of the
that
capacity
path have been
augmentation.
taken by Department
So
of Chemistry,
all of
University
this
Kerala. Lot of
put
research
together
programs in early
is going
60s
to
and
enable
70s
us to
done.
handle
In that
4.5
why should
million
we convert
TEUs.
the some of the
And
industry
capacity
R&D
augmentation,
as
as
a-
has been announced
as a
by the
research center
government,
so that the
Honorable
university
Chief Minister
faculties
would
can
be
integrate with
inaugurating
them. Any gap area
the
identified
second
in
phase,
the
the further
commercialization
phases of
industry
development
part
of
can be a
Veeramani International
PhD or
Seaport
research
on November
program. The
5th.
students can be inducted as research fellows
2025.
working in university and industry. Huge innovations can
So
be done.
those are just a few
Commercialization
pictures
can be done.
of
That
the
is a
breakwater, the
huge
container
gap
berth.
we are facing nowadays
is
in
the
India, especially in Kerala. In that respect, what is your
breakwater that I
observation,
mentioned
sir,
about.
please?
So we
Yeah,
actually have what we call
this is
acropods,
what is the
which are like
crossing the valley
tetrapods,
of
but they
death,
have
I
8
say.
sites. And these acropods are
you will not
patented
be
technology from a
because
Canadian company, which is actually
industry-relevant
manufactured there
problem definition is not
at our
come,
place, and this has
it
been
has not
exclusively
crossed the
used.
valley of death.
So that's the port. It's
you're
an
not
aerial
seeing,
view of the port and some of the largest vessels
research-driven
that we can
development
see. So
First,
these are
the
vessels
problems
that
are not
are
defined
around
by
400
industry or-
meters,
that is why
you know,
we
like
want a
close to half a
mission.
kilometer.
Once a mission is there,
you have a vessel
it
standing
is
in front of
becoming
you. It's
directed research.
truly
It
larger
is
than
not
life
like I am,
experience when you go there
expert
every
in
time.
aluminium, therefore till
And
death do us
you know,
part.
these are
I
some of
only
our
work
crane
in aluminium.
operators,
Just because 2
as you
years
can
did
see in the
mechanical
picture.
or
So that is
material
definitely, you know,
you are rest
so
of
far
your
we've been
life you are
talking
doing
about
it.
numbers
So it has
and,
to
you
be a
know,
research,
probably the
directed
finances and
research, and directed
what
research
economy
comes
does
from
to the
the
state in terms
mission
of development.
that-
But
that's
this
how
is one aspect
missions
which
are done.
I love
Second
to highlight
part of
wherever
the
I go,
question, why can't,
which is to iron out the differences
go
and make
to
sure that it's an
industry,
inclusive development.
parks or whatever it
So,
is where
you know,
problems can-
I'm so
Yes.
proud in saying that
It is now
Vizhinjam
happening
International
both ways.
Seaport is the first
From
port in the
industry,
country that has
people should
women
be able
crane
to come to
operators.
academia and serve
And
years. And
that
people
was
should be able to
you know, a
be given
special
sabbatical or
initiative that
whatever ways,
we took.
or
And
even
so far we
direct,
have 9 women crane
time
operators.
to go and
And of
spend in
them,
the,
7 women
industry,
are from Vizhinjam
R&D,
area. They are from
sector,
the fishermen
and
folk
then,
family,
do
and we
the,
have given them
research. Yes.
special skill
All
development
these
and
things come
training
when
to
you
ensure
define
that
a
they
bigger
are
system
out
problem,
there and
differentiate it into
you know,
many
controlling
research
these
problems,
huge cranes,
from
and
big
as I
TRL
mentioned,
to
you
a
know, these
smaller TRL.
grand
That's called a bird's
ships
view
and
versus
containers
worm's
that comes
view.
in front of their
Worm's
eyes,
view, we
and the
attach
ease with
the
which they do
academic
that, you
institutional
know, as if
research.
my,
On the bird's view,
I'm
all
reminded of
the
my,
TRL,
you know,
lower level
son and
TRLs
his
are
friends trying to
integrated
play
together
games.
systems
So
of
it's almost like
So
moving
this
a
is how we
joystick,
have
the
been
ease with
doing,
which
and
they do that.
I started
But of
2
course with
PhD
due
programs in
seriousness,
SRM
not trying
University
to,
in NIT Warangal. So they could
you know,
come and
reduce
even
the
work with us. And
effort.
these things, these models
So
now exist.
it's
It is
definitely
now
a joy
being
to see
amplified.
that.
It will happen.
But how is this possible? How did we
Thanks
become
a lot,
India's first,
vision
you know,
to make
female
it a
crane
reality,
operator-driven
vision, mission and
port?
passion. I think all of
Again,
you
thanks
have
to
shown that
technology.
passion.
So of all the
So I
cranes
am
that you
sure
see
this
there,
mission is going to succeed.
you know,
Thank you.
none of these cranes actually
I
have
request a
a
honorable-
driver's or an operator's cabin on top of it, which is usually seen in other cranes, where you have to actually go to the top and sit and control the crane. So instead, these are cranes which are semi-automated or fully automated, which means you cannot actually even go and sit there on top of the crane and control it even if you wanted to. So that really takes away a lot of the physical, arduous effort that is involved in operations like this, and enhances our efficacy by leaps and bounds. So
that shows how Kerala is tackling the issue
so
of waste.
this is something I would want to leave you with,
Surely we will
and
go
probably
to
discuss
more and
more
more,
if any of you
development
have
of clean
interest
Kerala എന്നുള്ളത്
in talking about the details. But again, you know, this is not something that WISL can do by
we have to do
ourselves,
that
all by ourselves.
together.
And here is, you know, inviting each one of you
Thanks a
to
lot,
help
sir.
us
I request the
ensure,
Honorable Minister to give
you know,
memento
Kerala's
to all
economic
these
growth layer
speakers.
by layer. So currently, we are at that top stack, wherein, you know, we are the gateway to global trade, and we have positioned ourselves at a very comfortable level. Transshipment and gateway operations, as I mentioned, is en route. So gateway operations could also mean value-added transshipment. It could be just, you know, de-stuffing of the cargo. It could be packaging, labeling, and then stuffing and then sending it back. That itself is a value addition. That itself is an employment generator. So it could be as simple as value addition to transshipment cargo. It could be gateway operations of the existing, you know, export and import trade in Kerala, mainly focusing on the current, you know, highly garnered exports of Kerala. Third would be to boosting, the third layer would be boosting the maritime and the logistics services, by which I drive the port-led industrialization, which is what all the other speakers have spoken about in great detail. Now that would mean identifying the industries which are suitable for the Kerala ethos, you know, environmental friendly, non-polluting, not probably, you know, the heavy machinery types, not the ones that require a huge amount of land, etc. So to identify those key industries which we can flourish and ensure that the port-led industrialization drive extends beyond the margins of Vizhinjam or Trivandrum district and up to Kasaragod and beyond even. Now while we are doing that, what was mentioned was the connectivity bit, you know, through road and rail. But there is also one more that I would like to, you know, leave you with and bring to your attention, which is to boost the coastal and the inland trading as well. So in Kerala, with the huge coastline that we have, and Kerala Maritime Board actually has 17 small ports. You know. None of them are hugely functional right now, but the Maritime Board has 17 ports. These are smaller ports, but definitely they can handle feeder vessels if required. And we should seriously think about having an inland trading circuit and also a coastal shipping circuit connecting all these 17 ports to Vizhinjam port as well, which would actually reduce the load on our already overloaded road connectivity sector. So, you know, that is one thing that I would want to leave you with. And any further questions, if there is time, I would love to take. But otherwise, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Divya, for the exciting journey of Vizhinjam Port till now and way forward, from transshipment to gateway to port-led industrialization. A lot of things have been brought out, and I hope all of you have understood and then looking forward for the facilitation that are going to happen in Vizhinjam. We are already crossed our time. but still we would like to give the opportunity to the participants in case you have any questions on the topics that we have discussed or anything else the panelists can answer you. We'd be happy to take the questions.
Sir. Hello. Hello. കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? Can I speak in Malayalam?
Yeah, please.
ഞാൻ മലയാളം യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ നിന്നാണ്, മല്ലിക എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ പേര്. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ സംസാരിച്ചതിൽ ഞാൻ തീരപ്രദേശത്തുള്ളതാണ്, വെട്ടം പഞ്ചായത്തിനടുത്തുള്ള അവിടെ തീരദേശത്തിനടുത്താണ് ഒരു യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ അവിടുത്തെ ആളുകളുടെ എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ബ്ലൂ ഇക്കോണമിയെക്കുറിച്ച് നമ്മൾ സംസാരിച്ചു. ഇപ്പോൾ ദിവ്യ IAS പറഞ്ഞതിനകത്ത് നമ്മൾ അവിടുത്തെ ആളുകളെ ഡിസ്പ്ലേസ് ചെയ്യാതെയാണ് വികസനം കൊണ്ടുവന്നത് മനസ്സിലായി. പക്ഷേ ഇപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ ഫിഷർമാൻ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റീൻ്റെ ഇടയിൽ അവർ 70s, 60s, 70s കേരളത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു അവസ്ഥയിലാണ് അവരുള്ളതെന്നുള്ളത് നമ്മളൊന്ന് ഓർമ്മിക്കേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. കാരണം നമ്മൾ 30s ഈ 31ലേക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ഇക്കോണമീനെ കാണുമ്പം അവരെ നമ്മൾ മാറ്റി നിർത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ പറ്റില്ല. കാരണം ഒരു ഏകദേശം 3 വാർഡിനെ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ഡാറ്റ എടുത്തപ്പം എനിക്ക് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുള്ളത് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അവരിൽ 7.5% മാത്രമാണ് 60 വയസ്സിന് മുകളിൽ ഏജ് സ്ട്രക്ചറിലുള്ളത്. 1% താഴെയാണ് അവരിൽ ഹയർ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഉള്ളത്. പക്ഷേ ഇവർക്കൊക്കെ ഫിഷിങ് 72% അവർ ഫിഷിങ് ഈ കാര്യങ്ങൾ അറിയുന്ന ആളുകളാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളുടെ ഈ വാട്ടർ ട്രാൻസ്പോർട്ടിംഗ് ഒക്കെ വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഈ ഫിഷർമാൻ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിക്ക് പ്രാധാന്യം കൊടുത്തുകൊണ്ട്, കാരണം അവരുടെ കഴിവിനെ മനസ്സിലാക്കിക്കൊണ്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റ് സ്ട്രാറ്റജി ഫോം ചെയ്യുമോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. കാരണം വിഴിഞ്ഞവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടിട്ട് അവരുടെ വലിയൊരു റെസിസ്റ്റൻസ് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതിന് പ്രധാന റീസൺ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇവർ വളരെ പത്തറ്റിക് അവസ്ഥയിലാണ്. എനിക്ക് വലിയ സങ്കടമുണ്ട് പറയാൻ. കാരണം അവിടുത്തെ 44 വീടുകളിൽ നമുക്കറിയാം ടോയ്ലറ്റ്സ് ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ടുള്ള പഞ്ചായത്ത് നിന്ന് അവാർഡ് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള അവിടെ 44 വീടുകളിൽ ടോയ്ലറ്റ്സ് ഇല്ലാത്ത ഒരവസ്ഥയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പലപ്പോഴും ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് ഈ പാർശ്വവൽക്കരിക്കപ്പെടുന്ന ഈ ആളുകളെ കൃത്യമായി മനസ്സിലാക്കിക്കൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ പദ്ധതികൾ കൊണ്ടുവന്നാൽ ഇത്തരത്തിലേക്കുള്ള അവരെ അവോയ്ഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഒഴിവാക്കാൻ കഴിയുമെന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. വളരെ പദ്ധതിക്കാണ് ഇവരുടെ ഒരു അവസ്ഥ. ഡ്രോപ്പ് ഔട്ട് വളരെ കൂടുതലാണ്. കാരണം 10 വയസ്സ് കഴിയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ കുട്ടികൾ ഈ സോഷ്യലി ഇതൊക്കെ അതുകൊണ്ട് അവർ മാറും. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഈ ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റ് പ്രോസസ്സിനകത്ത് വരാൻ പറ്റുന്ന രീതിയിലേക്ക് അവരെ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള എന്ത് സ്ട്രാറ്റജിയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഫോം ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. കാരണം അതിമനോഹരമായ ബീച്ചാണെങ്കിൽ പോലും അതൊന്നും തന്നെ ഇപ്പോഴും എക്സ്പ്ലോർ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. നല്ല ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് വരണം, ഇക്കോ ഫ്രണ്ട്ലി ആയിട്ട് ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് വേണം. പക്ഷേ അതേസമയം തന്നെ ഇവർ ഡിസ്പ്ലേസ്ഡ് ആയി പോവാത്ത രീതിയിലേക്ക് ശ്രദ്ധിക്കുകയും കൂടി ചെയ്യേണ്ടതാണ് എന്നുള്ളതാണ് പറയാനുള്ളത്. താങ്ക് യു.
You can just give a brief answer. Yeah, so as I was telling you, like Dr. Divya will be answering this question. So the participants can ask any questions on the topics covered by other panelists also. The question is open to all the panelists.
താങ്ക് യു. പറഞ്ഞതിനോട് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും യോജിക്കുന്നു. നേരത്തെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന സംഘർഷങ്ങൾ മാറി ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഉദ്ഘാടനത്തിനായാലും ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ അവിടെ വന്നിരുന്നതും സന്തോഷിച്ചതും വിഴിഞ്ഞത്തെ ജനങ്ങൾ തന്നെയായിരുന്നു. അവിടുത്തെ മത്സ്യത്തൊഴിലാളി എല്ലാവരും മത്സ്യത്തൊഴിലാളികളും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ സഭയുടെയും പള്ളിയുടെയും ഒക്കെ ആളുകളും വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും ഇപ്പോൾ ഒത്തുചേർന്ന് ആണ് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും തുറമുഖത്തിൻ്റെ വികസനത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് ആലോചിക്കുന്നതും ഓരോ പടിയിലും അവരെ ആ ഒരു പ്രക്രിയയിലൂടെ നമ്മൾ കൊണ്ടുപോയി തന്നെയാണ് അത് നടത്തുന്നത്. അതിനോടൊപ്പം ക്ഷേമ പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ എന്നുള്ളതിന് ഓരോ മേഖലയായി തിരിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഈ ക്ഷേമ പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ നമ്മൾ നടത്തി വരുന്നുണ്ട്. എല്ലാം വിശദീകരിക്കാനുള്ള സമയം ഇല്ലാതിരുന്നത് കൊണ്ടാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഇപ്പം ചെറിയൊരു ഉദാഹരണം പറയാം. അവിടെ ഇപ്പോൾ വിഴിഞ്ഞം ഹാർബർ സ്കൂൾ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു LP സ്കൂൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ പോയപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം ആവശ്യപ്പെട്ട ഒരു കാര്യം, അവിടെ പഠിക്കുന്ന പെൺകുട്ടികൾ പലതും മാഡം ഇപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ തന്നെ അവർക്ക് LP സ്കൂൾ കഴിഞ്ഞതിന് ശേഷം അടുത്തൊരു UP സ്കൂൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു 13 കിലോമീറ്റർ അകലെയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ പെൺകുട്ടികളെ മാത്രം തന്നെ വിടാനായിട്ട് അവർക്കൊരു പ്രയാസം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ പല കുട്ടികളും ചിലപ്പോൾ പഠനം വരെ നിർത്തിപ്പോകുന്ന ഒരു സാഹചര്യം ഉണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളത് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ സർക്കാർ അതിൽ ഏറ്റവും നല്ല രീതിയിൽ പ്രവർത്തിച്ച് നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഈ വർഷം മുതൽ, അതായത് ഈ കഴിഞ്ഞ വർഷം മുതൽ അവിടെ UP സ്കൂളായി നമ്മൾ പ്രഖ്യാപിക്കുകയും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ആക്കി കൊടുക്കുകയും ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ മറ്റൊരു സ്കൂളിനൊരു അഡീഷണൽ ബാച്ച് നമ്മൾ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ സ്കൂളുകളുടെ കാര്യം മാത്രമല്ല, ഇപ്പം പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് എടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് പറയുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ സ്കൂളുകളുടെ കാര്യത്തിലാണെങ്കിലും ആരോഗ്യ മേഖലയുടെ കാര്യത്തിലാണെങ്കിലും അതിനോടൊപ്പം ഈ പറഞ്ഞ സ്കിൽ സെൻറ്ററിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ലക്ഷ്യം എന്നുള്ളത് തന്നെ യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ അവിടെയുള്ള യുവാക്കൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും അവരെ അഭ്യസ്തവിദ്യരാക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതും ഏതെങ്കിലും തരത്തിൽ ഈ മേഖലയുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടോ അല്ലാതെ ഉള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളായാലും, ഇപ്പോൾ ഹോസ്പിറ്റാലിറ്റി മേഖല എന്നുള്ളത് പോലും നമുക്ക് പോർട്ട് ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏതൊരു ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയിലാണെങ്കിലും ഹോസ്പിറ്റാലിറ്റി മേഖലയിലുള്ള ഒരു ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ അത്തരത്തിലുള്ള എല്ലാ മേഖലകളിലും തൊഴിലവസരങ്ങൾ സൃഷ്ടിക്കാനും അതിന് അവർക്ക് വേണ്ടുന്ന നൈപുണ്യ പരിശീലനം നൽകുക എന്നുള്ള ഒരു രീതിയിലാണ് നമ്മളത് ആവിഷ്കരിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ പ്രദേശവാസികളായിട്ടുള്ള ആളുകൾക്ക് പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ടുള്ള ഫീ കൺസെഷൻ ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ അതിൽ നമ്മൾ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിപ്പോൾ തീരദേശ മേഖല മൊത്തം നമ്മൾ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കുന്നില്ല, ഞാനിപ്പോൾ പറയുന്നത് വിഴിഞ്ഞത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്. പക്ഷെ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും തീരദേശ മേഖല മൊത്തം ഓരോ സ്ഥലത്തും ഇത്തരത്തിലുള്ള ഒരു പ്ലാൻ ആവിഷ്കരിക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു രൂപകൽപ്പന നടത്തുന്നുണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മുടെ ബ്ലൂ ഇക്കോണമി കോൺക്ലേവിൽ പങ്കെടുത്തപ്പോഴും ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലായത്. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ ഇപ്പോൾ പകൽ വീട് ഉൾപ്പെടെ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അവിടുത്തെ തീരദേശ മേഖലയിലെ വയോജനങ്ങൾക്ക് ആവശ്യമായിട്ടുള്ള പകൽ വീട് ആവശ്യമാണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു, അത് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ ഓരോ സ്ട്രേറ്റ് ഓഫ് സൊസൈറ്റി അവിടെയുള്ള ഓരോ മേഖലയിലുള്ള ജനങ്ങളുടെ ആവശ്യങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കി അവിടെ വികസന പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ നടത്തി വരുന്നുണ്ട് നമ്മൾ. താങ്ക് യു.
Excuse me. My name is Munshid Ali. I am representing Kerala Exporters Forum. Only some 2-3 points I have to raise to this to Madam. See, first of all, I would like to have some coordination committee of stakeholders from various stakeholders are there. Then dry docking facility should be arranged there nearby to Vizhinjam. Then, see, you know, we are not relying the cargo mentioned from Kerala. Especially it has to be come from north. The Kushal Nagar is very fine for coffee exports. Korg is for paper. So what our request, we had already raised with the DRM in last meeting, National Shipping Board meeting also, we had raised this same concern. At least from Farouk railway station, there will be a lot of space available. And if you can have a connectivity, rail connectivity from Farouk directly to Vizhinjam, then we can to make it adjacent service with the Bepur port. It's hardly 7 kilometers from the Farouk railway station, so that it will be come through both coastal navigation as well as the rail navigation, which should be taken up the matter at the utmost concern, so that the cargo coming from Mangalore and other parts can be connected directly to Vizhinjam, which will be giving it the most time transit and more cheaper. Then small ship breaking facilities and some inland water development, which are also again move through cargo through this coastal container. Then palm oil handling. See, presently palm oil is banned only through Kerala, but the benefit will be going to Mangalore port as well as the Tuticorin port. So the palm oil which is available in supermarket, local supermarket in Kerala, the customer is paying around hardly 20 to 25 rupees. This is hardly, it's a policy decision which are already taken up with the ministry, and it should be come up through. Once it is available through the ports in Bepur, Azhikal and Kollam, then the government of Kerala can generate more revenue as well as more job employment creation, as well as public will be benefiting for this. This is all the small concern which I am raising. I think Madam can represent. Mr. Prakash is also here from the shipping industry. Yes, can raise it.
Thank you. We'll definitely take that into consideration. The coordination committee will definitely be there. It's already been brought to our notice. Government will be issuing the necessary directions. And also, as you mentioned, you know, Bepur port, and probably Sir can guide us further. Even Vallarpadam, we were thinking, you know, if we can connect it so that rail connectivity from Kochi, from Kozhikode can be utilized until, you know, the tunnel rail comes up in Vizhinjam. So until that point, if we can actually have our vessels, you know, feeder vessels coming in from Bepur and Vallarpadam and any other port across, you know, Kerala's coastline to Vizhinjam and utilize that for exports. So that is definitely something we would love to explore with you all and try working around that. Thank you.
Yeah, can I talk?
Yeah, please.
Yes, I'll try to be as fast as possible. Now we are running short of time also. 2-3 questions, suggestions also from the V.K.C side. One is, of course, Ma'am already mentioned about the development of the Vinyam port. We need to speed up the process in getting the land acquisition and all this complete, because all these infrastructure facilities and the ecosystem has to be created very fast, because Tamil Nadu is also gearing very fast. So we need to have that process done very fast. Second thing too, regarding the Cochin Port Authority chairperson, sir, now that land cost is Cochin Port is very much on the higher side. We have been also requesting the Port Authority to have it reduced. You have the Government of India policies also on the that needs to be tweaked in such a way that so that in fact that the investment, those who are looking for investment can acquire the land at a reasonable, that on the equal footing. That will be really good. And last one is on regarding the that I think 1 month ago we had a discussion with the High Commissioner of India at Maldives also, and he was also very keen to have a smaller vessel operating from Vizhinjam side to Maldives. So that will be very easily that will be very convenient also. And they have also looked in the possibility of getting the return cargo from the Maldives also. We had also done few three initiatives on the same also. Now the tuna is one aspect which Alexei also knows very well, that they are also ready to have the shipment from the tuna to Cochin also to have the value addition also. That can be also considered. So the Kerala government and Government of India and the trade authorities need to work it in such a way that this is a very important trade area. Kochi as well as Kerala can do more export to Maldives and create a more value addition to the system. Thank you.
Thank you for your inputs. We will take all this into consideration in our future decision making.
I'm a financial consultant. I'd like to know, central government has come out with a lot of schemes on the blue revolution now. What is the support which Cochin Port and Vizhinjam Port plans to give for inland fishing, seaweed training and all those things?
On what sort of support you are looking for in the inland
by way
fishing?
of land at very low rates, and even also training for especially in Vizhinjam, a lot of women people are connected with seaweed fishing, whether they can be given any training.
Yeah, I think training, Madam has already talked about in skill development for all the, specifically focusing to the local community. And here in Cochin Port also, there is going to be a skill development center in association with the Cochin Shipyard for various maritime related training facilities. So with respect to land, since specifically both of you have mentioned, as long as land is concerned, if it is for activity which will enhance throughput through the port, and if you are able to guarantee that you will give this much throughput using the land that we are going to give, we can definitely look at reducing the cost of the land.
Can I speak? Firstly, congratulations to Vizhinjam, MD and her team. And from the shipping industry, I work for a shipping line, and we have visited Vizhinjam port from the day one when they commenced their, from the land acquisition itself. As well as with the Ramachandran sir also, with the Vallarpadam also, we have done that. And what we understand, is that the entire infrastructure, what is, the development happening in Kerala will benefit both the ports, even Cochin Port as well as Vizhinjam. And as a shipping line, a shipping operator, what we are looking into the land availability near the port area to keep our empty containers, to, as you rightly pointed out about the CFS, but CFS is actually a supportive system. Even now, government is looking for a direct port delivery and direct access to exporting also. So the CFS has a secondary stage, whereas the empty container yard, which has to be a cheaper one also, which we are looking into. So I want to know whether there is a facility which can be provided with the Vizhinjam port directly, or we need to look for a private area for that. Minimum 2 to 3 acres per, for empty yard we require. Similarly, and another area what we are looking is the ICP status, which I think still you are looking for that. The EDA is connected, but ICP is still pending. And from 1st November onwards, you are looking for, EXIM gateway from there, which will actually accelerate the job opportunities in Kerala. Even now, if you look into the shipping fraternity, we have about 100 employment created recently, only for the Vizhinjam what is happening now. Inside your terminal, there are other operations also, other staff's requirement is there. But the entire industry will benefit. As Mr. Munshid pointed out, the cargo from South India, Kerala, like, Tamil Nadu belt, even from Andhra, Hyderabad, all these, which is going to, Mumbai or Mundra, which will come to Cochin, also will be benefited, for Kashi sir also saying that, because it will, always there will be overflow and it will come to the nearby ports also. But it will come to Vidinyam. The railway will support later, but road infrastructure is enough now. At present, that is enough. But what we are looking, the ICP status has to be there and the gate has to be opened. And the road connectivity is still, I think, yesterday also we got the update that the road connectivity is still pending. But how fast you can do it is a question for us. And a crew change facility, which actually helped Kerala and India also during the COVID times at outer anchorage, which is not permissible by government of India due to various other reasons. But government also, even Vidinyam Port also will be benefited. And we request government of Kerala as well as Vidinyam Port and Cochin Port to take those areas also. And other than that, like Alex sir was highlighting about the testing center, I think that Cochin Port can help us in that, and we jointly can work in the shipping as well as the Chamber of Commerce and Industry can work together with Alex sir and make it happen. So congratulations once again. Thank you.
All the points that you mentioned, we are also working in a steadfast manner, and by the end of this year, definitely it will all be ticked. So thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, sir. So, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, here, sorry, yeah. So, my name is Siddharth. I run a clean tech startup in Kochi. So, what we do is we collect trash and make plastic recycle benches and all. We are pretty famous in Kerala. So, if you travel in metro or malls, you can see recycle benches. And we are getting orders from Middle East and Europe as well, and even some governments are asking us if we can set up a plant outside India. We met few investors also in Kerala that if you can help us out to put a plastic recycle plant. So I don't want to mention his name. He said, "Mone, you do something outside the state, not in state." So, but we are very adamant that we want to do in Kerala only. So, we are doing in Kalamassery, and we are looking what if we get a space in Kollam where we can, collect waste from entire Kerala, and we are looking for a vertical integration where we'll make furnitures and we'll export it to other countries and all. And we were wondering if we can get space rather than buying, if there is any other alternative for it.
So what is the total area you are looking at, and what is the volume that you will be producing?
So as of now, till now we have recycled almost 35 kg of plastic waste from Kochi itself, and we are looking like 50 kg a day, and we are looking for 4 acres of land in Kollam specifically, because we are looking for route optimization, and we are trying to work with like China. Like Toyota company, they have a lean manufacturing concept. So that is why, we thought to take space in Kollam.
Okay, your request has been noted, then we will see. Right.
Sure. Thank you.
I think the organizers are noting down all the important points that are raised by the participants here. One more question. Maybe we can have it as a last question.
Hello. I would like to make a suggestion which is regarding human fecal matter. The amoebic meningitis is primarily because of the pollution of fecal matter getting into our groundwater. Our septic tanks are all leaking, and this is an area in which I have some expertise. I was the one who was instrumental in getting the green bio-toilets on the Indian Railway, and President Kalam is the one who advised me that we can produce electricity from human fecal matter. So I would suggest, for instance, Cochin is talking about 2 STPs. That is not the way to go. You must think about collecting the fecal matter from us in a centralized manner and converting it into methane, combining it with natural gas, using fuel cell technology. You get clean electricity and water. This is a very important, urgent matter, and Kerala must do it for the public health needs. Public health is a very important matter. I'm a medical doctor. I was in the US. I've come back, and I'm very determined. But I don't get the support from the public or from the public authorities. And I think this is something that needs to be considered. We should make Kerala look like Japan. The topography used to be kept very well. The landscaping 600 years ago. I've seen some manuscripts in the library in the US which shows how Kerala was impeccably kept. 600 years ago, 700 years ago. Today we are not at all, all our weeds, all our properties are all full of crap. We need to clean up. That is the priority. That is when you will have economic growth. And, you know, I'm an NRI who has come to Kerala, but we don't get the recognition. We don't get the support. And our ideas are not even received well. And I'm speaking on behalf of all of them, in a way. So, thank you. I appreciate your response.
Thank you. So again, I would request the organizers to note down the details and pass it on to the Cochin Municipal Corporation. And we hope it will see the light of the day. To conclude, I would like to thank all the panelists who had given their time, energy in doing the preparation and coming out with excellent presentations as well as articulations of the entire topic on which we were discussing, export and port-led development. And also I would like to thank the participants for your active listening and also active participation in questioning. So I thank the organizer for giving us the opportunity to conduct this panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. ഈ സമാന്തര സെഷൻ ഫലവത്താക്കിയ വിശിഷ്ട വ്യക്തിത്വങ്ങളെ ആദരിക്കുന്നതിനായിട്ടുള്ള ഉപഹാര സമർപ്പണ ചടങ്ങാണ് അടുത്തത്. ഉപഹാരം സമർപ്പിക്കുന്നതിനായി ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട അധ്യക്ഷൻ ശ്രീ ബി കാശിവിശ്വനാഥൻ അവരുകളെ സാദരം ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. ഈ ഉപഹാരങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത കൂടിയുണ്ട്. ഭൂമി എന്ന വനിതാ കൂട്ടായ്മയുടെ നേതൃത്വത്തിൽ ഉപയോഗശൂന്യമായ തുണിത്തരങ്ങൾ പുനരുൽപാദനം ചെയ്ത് നിർമ്മിച്ചവയാണിവ. ആദ്യത്തെ ഉപഹാരം ഏറ്റുവാങ്ങുന്നതിനായി ശ്രീ എൻ രാമചന്ദ്രൻ റിട്ടയർഡ് IPS അവരുകളെ ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. അടുത്തതായി ശ്രീ അലക്സ് കെ നൈനാൻ അവരുകളെ സാദരം ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. അടുത്തതായി പ്രൊഫസർ സി വീരമണി അവരുകളെ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. അടുത്തതായി ഡോക്ടർ ദിവ്യ എസ് അയ്യർ IAS അവരുകളെ ഉപഹാരം ഏറ്റുവാങ്ങുന്നതിനായി ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. ഈ ചർച്ച ഫലവത്താക്കിയ ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട അധ്യക്ഷനും മറ്റെല്ലാ ആദരണീയരായ വ്യക്തികൾക്കും വിനീതമായി നന്ദി രേഖപ്പെടുത്തുന്നു. ഇതോടുകൂടി നമ്മുടെ രണ്ടാമത്തെ സമാന്തര സെഷൻ ഇവിടെ അവസാനിക്കുകയാണ്.